presented by Double B's. It's where you gas it, grab it, and go. Fence Brokers, going the extra mile. UAMS Health, the official orthopedics and sports medicine provider for Razorback Athletics. And Jones & Son, 40 years of excellence with the same owners and same location.
De'Aaron Hill Jr. is the running back. The quick pass is intercepted. It's going to be run in for an Indiana touchdown. D'Angelo Pons on the first play of the game.
Now, let's head to Hot Springs and join our host for tonight's special broadcast, Justin Acree.
All right, we are thrilled to be with you tonight in a celebration of the 30th year of the Broyles Award, a lasting legacy from Frank Broyles, the longtime Razorback head coach and athletic director, and it is great to be here at Oaklawn Racing Casino Resort. We are underway to some degree. It's time to eat right now inside the ballroom. We're going to go inside, and we'll actually, on our video stream, be sharing the video of this event as well. But if you're driving around and traveling around and can't be watching video tonight, we are happy to have you on our audio here, or if you're listening on our audio stream, we're happy to have you there as well. But looking forward to bringing this to you tonight. So what are we going to be doing tonight in the meantime? We've got about a 45-minute window here where between now and 7:45, we'll be talking all about the 5 finalists who are here for the Broyles Award. Had a chance to visit with all of them today. Also got to see Mark May, the Hall of Famer, who is in town today, and Holly Rowe, who is a Hall of Famer in the broadcasting world in her own right, who is also here and going to be part of the celebration. You're going to hear from, I think, both of them tonight for sure. Holly Rowe. David Basil, our guy at the Buzz, is heavily involved, obviously. He got this thing started with Coach Broyles years ago, 3 decades ago, hard to believe, and he is the sort of centerpiece of all of this. But it's great to have Coach Broyles' family involved, his daughter Betsy and his granddaughter Molly, who joined us today on the Buzz and had a great time visiting with her. Her husband Clayton is now heavily involved as well. They're traveling around now promoting the Broyles Award, but this is a celebration of greatness in the world of college football, the best leadership in college football at the assistant coach level, which was something that Coach Broyles was heavily involved in. Look back through his tree, and he's certainly not the only head coach that gave opportunities to other assistants over the years, but he's a guy that definitely set the bar very, very high. And it's a great opportunity to celebrate that legacy here. And it's a great time to come together. This is kind of our last little jewel in the world of college football. And really pro football, obviously, is on hold now, too, unless you're really into the UFL or some of these other options we'll have over the summertime. But this is kind of the last piece for us. And we will fully turn our attention to basketball, which is nice because football season wasn't a whole lot of fun. Speaking of that, I will tell you that Sam Pittman's in the house with his wife, Jamie. Got a chance to see him. There are a lot of VIPs. Saw a lot of former Razorbacks who are here, not just Baz, but also saw Quinn Grovey, a number of other folks that are very influential in the community, but also former athletes and coaches. Gus Malzahn's here. So anyway, a lot of folks who are going to be very recognizable to you if you were here tonight. I strongly encourage next year, if you're looking for something to do on a Thursday night, to come down to the Broyles Award. It is a phenomenal event. I do want to thank again, all our great sponsors, and we can't do anything without them. And that's a kind of a cliche thing to say, but it is certainly true in this case. I want to thank Double B's, where you gas it, grab it, and go. I want to thank Fence Brokers, going the extra mile. UAMS Health, the official orthopedics and sports medicine provider for Razorback Athletics, and Jones & Son, 40 years of excellence with the same owners in the same location, and we appreciate them so much. So our 5 finalists this year, again, you're going to hear from, I think we'll have time to get some sound from all of them. We interviewed them in the zone today, except for Matt Patricia, who I got a chance to catch up with after our show ended at 1 o'clock today. So I will be talking about the zone a little bit during these interviews, but you're going to get the gist of it. And it's great. We dug into their personal lives a little bit, their journey to this place, their seasons they had with their teams. And we're talking about one SEC coach. That's Mike Bobo, a guy that a lot of folks around here know. He's the OC at Georgia. He's been a former head coach. Unfortunately, was at Colorado State when they beat Arkansas one time. Forgettable game. But we don't hold that against Coach Bobo. He's a former Bulldog great, now doing a really good job with their offense. Bryant Haynes, who's the Indiana defensive coordinator, and you could have picked their OC as well. I mean, what a year Kurt Cignetti and his staff had. Mike Shanahan, their OC, certainly could have been nominated this year as well. And what a run to the national championship. But Brian Haynes coached the number 2 total defense, number 2 scoring defense. Corey Heatherman, who's still relatively early in his career, he's a first-time Broyles Award semi-finalist and nominee. Never been a nominee before this year. He's got a really interesting story. Played in Division II, coached in Division II, rather, played Division III, coached Division III, and has worked his way up slowly to this point. His team was number 11 in total defense, and they were also top 5 in total sacks. And, of course, Miami, I don't know if you noticed, got to the national championship game on their home field at Hard Rock Stadium. So what a great year for him. Sheila Wood, the Texas Tech defensive coordinator, excuse me. We've got 4 defensive coordinators, 1 offensive coordinator. Sheila Wood, the number 3 scoring and total defense this year, number 1 in fumbles recovered, very opportunistic, great season for Texas Tech, and they have just arrived on the scene. Them, Indiana, and then you get Miami, a return. Ohio State, you expect to be there every year. So, and then Georgia, same thing. But it was nice to see some new faces in the mix this year, wasn't it? I mean, for those of you who hate on the non-Power 4 teams again, and that's one thing, but these are newbies in the big leagues, which is great to see. It's really cool. And, again, an opportunity to celebrate the job these coaches are doing. And these are all guys that you would expect down the road will be head coaches at some point. And then probably the most household name really of all is Matt Patricia, a guy that's been around for a long time. He's been all over the place at all different levels. And he came back to college, to Ohio State, after coaching in 3 Super Bowls. He's been involved in all sorts of big-time games over the years, but he wanted to get back to college coaching. He's got a young family, and he wanted to be around his kids more. And that's why he decided to step back into the college ranks. And, man, is he doing a phenomenal job at Ohio State. And he really, to me, honestly, I don't really know that there's a whole lot of a discussion here. He's got statistically the most impressive resume coming in to this today, but he's got the number 1 scoring defense, the number 1 total defense, the number 1 red zone defense. They were number 1 in passing yards allowed. Again, they didn't get deep in the playoffs. They had a tough run there. But my goodness, what the last couple of years they've had. I mean, it's been amazing, and Ohio State certainly is, just won a championship recently. So I mean, last year was great. This year was very good, not quite as good. But, again, you look at him and what they've done over there at Ohio State, remarkable. Matt Patricia, again, the Super Bowl rings sort of speak for themselves, don't they? Well, because we did not get a chance to share our interview with him, and we did the other 4, let's start with Matt Patricia. I want to make sure we get that interview in its entirety. Then we talked to him almost 15 minutes, and he was not at all like I expected. Matt Patricia, you see him on the sideline. He's got that pencil, behind his ear. He's Mr. Intensity, looks real gruff. Well, he's kind of slimmed down. He was all refined today, had a nice hat on, and had just gotten in and was kind enough to sit down with us here. It was really nice to visit with Matt Patricia today. Again, the Ohio State defensive coordinator, phenomenal year, top dogs in scoring and total defense this season, and a guy that's been around a long time and knows what it looks like, as they say. This is Cut E, Damon. Let's hear from Matt Patricia. Coach, congratulations, obviously, on being part of this, and you've been part of a lot of big things in the world of football. So, can you put the Broyles Award in the pantheon of Matt Patricia's life for me?
Absolutely. I mean, just so honored and blessed to be here. And this is really a special award. I think for the Broyles committee and obviously Coach Broyles to think about the assistant coaches and really step aside and understand how important the role of the assistant coach is into developing the young men and the players and the scheme and all the other things that go into it. It truly is just a special award and event. I feel a little bit out of place. I feel like, it really should be about our staff. It should be about the other assistant coaches. I think it's not ever one person. I think it's all of us working together. So for me, this really kind of represents all the hard work that our defensive staff did this year.
Well, it always is kind of a team award, right, I think? So if your team doesn't have success, then you don't get honored. But it is kind of representative probably of what's going on with your program. And again, you're part of a program that's been historically great for years and years. When you came in, I'm just curious about the transition from an NFL background and how easy it is to do it the way you did it, or do you have to tweak some things from a collegiate standpoint to make it work?
Yeah, certainly I hadn't been in the college game in a minute. It's been about 25 years. So for me, it was a lot of just come in, let's observe, let's learn. We also had lost 9 starters, I think, to the draft from the year before. So we had a bunch of guys that had never really played against guys that hadn't started and been on the field for that many snaps. So it was very important for me just to kind of learn the players. What do they do well? How do we figure out what to kind of scheme to put them in so they can go out and play fast and aggressive? And then, I teach probably a little bit different. I teach a little bit more conceptually like you do in the NFL and bigger picture things that can be easily interchangeable amongst scheme. And I think they didn't really understand that I was kind of tricking them a little bit. So when we got all said and done, it was like, okay, now look how much we learned. And, it kind of opened their eyes and said, wow, we actually did a whole lot without understanding or
you gave them Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, we did. We just, hey, here's the left. I'm gonna get you with the right now. So it was really cool. It was great to see them, and even through the course of the season, just to watch them grow and learn the game. I would have to stop them sometimes, like, hey, just think how much we've learned here in 6 months or 8 months, and it was pretty special to watch those kids just really eat that all up.
Yeah, most of us got to know you when you were already a star as a coordinator. So I'm curious about your roots and your early days and how you got to where you are now.
Yeah. Well, kind of my story of coaching is I played college football at a small school, Division III, up in New York called Rensselaer. Played 4 years of college football. I'm an aeronautical engineer by trade. So engineer, wanted to design planes and fly planes. So did that. When I got done playing, I stayed a fifth year, started my MBA. So I was kind of coaching football, coached the offensive line, and was working on my master's. Got done with that year. My mom kind of was like, hey, you're not on scholarship anymore. You need to go to work. So I went and I did engineering. Um, Engineering was great, but when you play football and you love the game that way, you miss it. There was something that just kept calling me back, and really, honestly, was calling me back to the college game. That's where I wanted to be. I wanted to be at the highest level of the college game. I wanted to help teach and mentor young men. That was real important for me. Going through college and men between 18 and 22, there's a lot coming at you. So I just felt like I could really impact and give back to the game that way. So I quit engineering. I started coaching at the bottom, another Division III school, Amherst College in Massachusetts. Coached there and started working my way up. I coached on both sides of the ball. I played offense, coached offense. I flipped. I was coaching defensive line at Amherst. Had a great opportunity to go back to Syracuse University. Coach Pasqualoni was the head coach. I actually flipped and went back to offense with Coach DeLeon, who was our offensive coordinator. And, just loved the college environment, big time football and all of it. So really thought that's where I was going to be. The New England Patriots called in the early 2000s and had a great opportunity to go to the NFL. I never really thought about it, to be honest with you, but this was an opportunity I had to take. So went to New England, got there. I actually went on offense. I was the assistant O-line coach for 2 years for Dante Scarnecchia, who was our O-line guy. And then after 2 years, Coach Belichick moved me over to defense, and I coached the linebacker room. So I coached the backer room for 6 years. Great players like Mike Vrabel and Teddy Bruschi, Junior Seau, Willie McGinnis, Roosevelt Cove, some of the greatest that ever played. I was very blessed to be around. I took over the defense in 2010, so I ran the defense. We were rebuilding the defense at that point at New England. We had won 3 Super Bowls. Those guys that had played in that first decade kind of were a little bit older. Rebuilt the defense, started drafting young guys, Devin McCourty, Dante Hightower, Chandler Jones, Pat Chung, and started to build the defense again. We went on another great run, was truly blessed there as a defensive coordinator. Went on to be a head coach in the NFL, which was great. Really hard, but, great experience. Went back to New England, really kind of in that GM role. Also, my second year called the offense as the offensive coordinator, and then left and went to Philadelphia. Had a great opportunity to go work for the Eagles, Nick Sirianni, Howie Roseman, and kind of just help out their staff. So it was a pretty amazing run in the NFL. I was basically a GM, a head coach, an offensive coordinator, and a defensive coordinator. Lucky enough to go to a lot of Super Bowls. But really at the end of it, I have 3, kids. My wife is amazing. And I really think I miss teaching and mentoring young men. I think that's why I got into coaching to do. The NFL is great, but it's a business. You're trying to win all the time. Not that college football isn't, but that mentor factor for young men was something that I just really wanted to get back to this year. And when Coach Day called me a year ago and expressed a potential opportunity, I just thought it was great for me to come back to college football.
Yeah. How old are your kids?
So I have a 14-year-old son, 12-year-old son, and a 10-year-old daughter.
Okay.
Right, they're right in the heat of it. Well, for my kids, they were born while we were in New England, so they really only knew professional football.
Right.
That was another part of it for me, was to be able to get back and see that college environment. It's just different now.
Yeah.
I mean, game days, we had 110 on that first one against Texas, and I think we had 80 outside the stadium. And just for my kids to see that and feel that college environment, it's just different. The smiles on their faces, watching through their eyes, that for the first time was really cool.
Yeah. Is there any comparison, I guess, dealing with professional athletes and dealing with today's college athlete? Is it about the same? Is it still different? These guys are younger, still trying to figure things out, or is it similar now because everybody's getting paid?
Well, I think, there definitely is, they are younger. One of the things I sat down with the guys last year is I'm getting to know them, and I would be like, how old are you? And they're like, I'm 18 years old. And I'm like, okay, my son's 14. I'm like, okay, this is a little bit different than when you're having a conversation with 28 or 30-year-old, grown man. So there is definitely that factor of it, but there's the innocence of it, which is great. The joy of the game that they have at the college level. But I think in the end, if you're a football player, whether you're a professional player or college player, and the college game is very professional in that manner, you want to be developed. You want to get better as a player. You want to give yourself those opportunities to move on, whether it's the next level at the NFL or if you're in the NFL trying to get your next contract. You're always trying to improve and be the best version of yourself that you can be. And as a coach, that's my job. That's what I really want, for you as a player. I would just want the most that, you can possibly be, and for you to get everything that you deserve. So that part of it's the same.
Yeah, obviously Coach Day's got a great reputation and a great resume of his own, but is it hard, being an assistant versus being the guy? I mean, do you ever think, hey, or do you get in his ear? Does he listen? I mean, do you guys have interactions? I mean, I'm sure he respects you with all your experience too. What's that interaction like?
Coach Day's great, and honestly, for me, it's just been great to be able to sit back and I love to learn. I love to watch, how other head coaches operate, and his leadership and the way that he handles the team has really been awesome for me to see. I've known Coach Day for a long time, so we have that friendship and we have that relationship, which is great, and that mutual respect. Where it is nice sometimes to be in the office. Even, myself being a former head coach, where you have the guys that have sat in that chair before and understand some of the pressure and some of the different things that you're dealing with. Because, as a young coach, even myself as a young coach, you probably didn't realize all of the things that you have to, handle as a head coach or a coordinator. So being able to have those conversations and just have another ear to, bounce things off sometimes is really good. So I try to do that the best I can.
Absolutely. Playoffs versus a Super Bowl environment. Can you compare for me? Like, what is it? Once it's football, is it football or is it like a whole different world?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think the Super Bowl is a little bit of a different event altogether.
Sure.
That is an unbelievable mountain to be at the top of, and but if you're playing in it and coaching in it, you do try to keep it just as you do everything else. It's just the next game. Let's just focus on the next game. Make sure that we're not getting overwhelmed with the magnitude of what it is. College footballs and the playoffs is definitely the same, with the energy and the excitement and the competition. All of it is at the highest level.
Right.
And you want to keep the approach the same. You want to just make sure you're in the moment. Let's just concentrate on the game, and then we'll pick our head up when it's all over.
Sure. Have you talked to Coach Belichick much since he's been at North Carolina? I mean, you guys are kind of going through the same thing in that transition period.
Yeah, we did. We talked a lot about it last year. We were working together on a TV show that I wrote on YouTube, and looking at the college game and how interested we were in it. So it was fun to be able to bounce some of that off each other as we were going. But as the season goes, you're just head down grinding and trying to do the best you can where you are.
And then obviously one of your former teammates, or I guess players that played for you, just got done playing in the Super Bowl, and they came up short. I was on the Patriots, so I was a little disappointed. But did you get a chance to watch it? Did you talk to Mike at all? You guys stay in touch?
I did. I did watch the game. I hit him up before the game, and Coach McDaniels, Josh McDaniels, who I grew up in the New England Patriots system with, wishing them the best of luck. And Mike's he's an unbelievable human being. He's a great person. He was a great player. He's one of the smartest players I've ever been around, really challenged and pushed me as a coach to make sure that, I was on my game. I always say good coaches come from great players, and Mike was one of those great players that made me a better coach. So he's an unbelievable leader. I know, that organization and the culture that he's building there and the way that he got those guys to play, he's only going to build on this, and it's only going to get better. So just really happy for him.
I can't think of, we talked about the different places you've been. You haven't been in too many situations where expectations are very low. It's always like, hey, you need to win a championship. There's always championship expectations at a lot of places, but realistic ones where you are. I'm just curious about constantly being in that position with the Patriots, Eagles, now with Ohio State.
Yeah. Well, when you want to compete at the highest level, that's what you're throwing yourself into that fire. I think the trick is really to try to make sure that you're always finding the joy in what you're doing. Football is our passion. I never call it work. I just follow my passion, and coaching is my passion, and that's what I love to do. But you also have to keep that joy of, have a championship season. You want to make sure that, the why always stays consistent. What is your why? And as long as we're teaching and mentoring and helping young men, whether it's in college, give them chances to have, great livelihoods in football or beyond, you're certainly trying to develop all those guys. I think when you walk away from it and you're all said and done, hopefully you can look back and say, I really impacted people.
Yeah, you can probably end up doing whatever you want to do. Do you have any interest in someday being a head coach at the collegiate level?
I never say never on any of it. I think the college game right now, I really love it. I'm having a lot of fun, and I'm learning as much as I can. And certainly if any of those opportunities come up, we'll attack them when they do. But right now, I try to keep my feet where I am and do the best job I can.
All right, awesome. Good luck tonight. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah.
What a dude. How about that? That's Matt Patricia. And, again, I recorded that interview after my show today, and I apologize. I should have reintroduced him a few times during the interview. Very amateur hour on my part. So if you're tuning in, you're wondering, who's this dude that Justin's talking to? Well, it was Matt Patricia, and longtime DC. He's certainly the most decorated of the candidates here, I think it's safe to say, with what he's done in his career. Again, you get multiple Super Bowl wins. And, I mean, I don't want to say humbles himself because obviously big-time college football is, an animal in all in and of itself. But it is a little bit different than playing or coaching in the professional ranks, and he has been very effective at both. And I think it's interesting. One of the things he talked about was the communication, the way he communicates with his guys. I thought that was really good. But, man, what a great coach, and what a great story. And I love the fact that he's really doing this because he can coach anywhere, and he could be a head coach if he wanted to again. But he wants to do this to be with his family. Again, those kids are, coming of age, and what a great opportunity for him to spend a little more time at home. So, all right, it's 7:21. We'll take a break here. We've got a couple of breaks we're going to take before we pitch it over to the event itself. Again, we are just setting the stage for the 30th annual Broyles Award. And, again, we've got 5 great candidates. We probably won't have time to hear from all of them. We may play some snippets of a few of them, but we'll get back to a couple more of those coming up after the break. Very deserving, each one of them, and excited to celebrate that. And Molly Harrell, I thought, that's Coach Broyles' granddaughter, thought she said something really good today. She said it's the heart behind the helmet. And, again, these are feel-good stories. There's not a lot of feel-good right now in college athletics. This is a feel-good story tonight here in Hot Springs at Oaklawn, and they're doing a great job, and I can't wait to get into the ceremony itself. And once we get rolling on that, I will head inside. But we're going to give you a chance to watch it on our stream and listen to it on our air, and then we will be back and we'll talk about the winner once it's announced. All right, we'll take a break. You're listening to the Broyles Award here on The Buzz.
Hey, this is Chris Walker at Fence Brokers. Looking for top quality fencing at unbeatable prices? At Fence Brokers, we're your local fence distributor with everything you need. Wood, vinyl, chain link, ornamental iron, access control, and more. Whether you're a contractor or a do-it-yourself homeowner, our staff of experts will help you find the perfect solution for your project. Fast delivery, huge selection, and personalized service set us apart. Visit us in Bryant or find us at fencebrokers.com. Fence Brokers, going the extra mile.
Hi, this is Jacob Jones, inviting you to shop with us at Jones & Son, family-owned and focused on you. When it comes to fine jewelry, shop us first and shop us last. Once you see the difference in quality and price, you'll be a customer for life. At Jones & Son, we offer the same great prices every day, 12 months out of the year. Take your time. Shop around. We know you'll be back because you deserve to make the decision that's best for you. Jones & Son, for over 40 years, at 11121 Rodney Parham Road, focused completely on you.
This is the Pigskin Preacher, bringing you the word. John Calipari pulled off a coup when he persuaded Darius Acuff to leave his Michigan home for Fayetteville. Acuff is not just one of the best freshmen in college basketball, but one of the very best players in all of the game. He is the rare talent who can put a team on his back and win a championship. And if that happens, everyone in the natural state will be jubilant, with the possible exception of Stan, who might have to stop calling into the Buzz for a while. At Double B's, you'll always find clean restrooms because you matter to us. That's why we always have monthly specials, so you can save a little do-re-mi. Double B's. It's where you gas it, grab it, and go. That's Double B's.
On that Double B's ad, we appreciate our 4 great sponsors: UAMS, Fence Brokers, Jones & Son, and, of course, Double B's. And hopefully I know some of our sponsors are here. We've got some reps from UAMS at the Buzz table in there. But what a great event. I'm glad that they got to be a part of it this year. And I hope if you are interested that you can make it a point to be down here to celebrate this next year. We just heard from Matt Patricia. And like I said, the most decorated guy. A guy you might not be as familiar with, but he has been around and he has been successful everywhere he's gone. He's been nominated for the Broyles Award at a couple of other stops before. In 22 at Troy, in 23 at Tulane, and now at Texas Tech. We're talking about Sheil Wood. He's got one of the most unique names. And what a defense. They are on their way up. They are incredibly well funded. They've got a great plan with Joey McGuire, and they are running roughshod over the Big 12 right now. And they rolled in the Big 12 championship game. Ran into a little trouble with Oregon in the playoff, but I got a funny feeling they will be back. Here is Sheil Wood, the coach of the number 3 total in scoring defense this season at Texas Tech. We got four gentlemen who love defense and are all about it. defensive coordinators who are represented here at the Broyles Awards. See my segue.
It's a defensive year for the Broyles
It's
Award.
a defensive. I don't want to get
defensive
defensive.
Year. Yes.
But Sheil Wood does.
Yes.
He's the DC
Always.
at Texas Tech. A Big 12 guy, and he is kind enough to join us today. I think I got you on the right mic, Coach, but the morning guy set this up, so God only knows. How are you?
I hope they had their coffee before they worked to set it up. I'm doing great. How are you guys this morning?
We are awesome. It's really great to have you with us, and congratulations on what was a remarkable season, a breakout season for Texas Tech, if you will. I mean, let's just start with it had to be amazing to be part of the run you guys had this year, and I'm just curious about what the ride was like.
Unbelievable. So blessed to be at Texas Tech. So appreciative that Joe McGuire entrusted me with the opportunity to be the defensive coordinator for our football team. And it's just, I pinch myself every day when sometimes when you're going through something in life, it's a blur. You maybe don't appreciate what you're going through at that point in time. I did stop and work on appreciating it. Just the alignment of everything at Texas Tech right now, I think, is really special. We've got a great thing going on, from our alumni to our athletic director, Kirby Hocutt, our head coach and the leader of our program, Joey McGuire, and his wife, Debbie, the phenomenal job that they do establishing and setting the culture and the standards in the building every day. Our defensive staff, our collective staff. I mean, one of the reasons we had success on defense is because we had a great offensive coaching staff, a great special teams coaching staff. Our players, I just can't say enough about them. And going back to, kind of appreciating what you're in when you're in it, I recognized, believe you me, every day I was like, holy cow, I can't believe I get to coach Lee Hunter. I get to coach David Bailey. I get to coach Romello Height. I get to coach Jacob Rodriguez, Cole Wisniewski, and on and on and on. It was just a treat to be a part of, and something that I'll remember the 2025 season for the rest of my life. Big 12 champs for the first time, set a new bar at Texas Tech, and we're excited for what that leads to this year in the 2026 campaign.
Absolutely, and I don't expect you to toot your own horn, but I will. You have been a nominee for the Broyles Award at 2 other schools too, so I mean, this is not an unfamiliar territory for you. So whatever you're doing defensively, philosophically, it's working, and you've carried it over now to Texas Tech. So what's your philosophy defensively?
Well, I think it starts with laying a foundation to where our guys can understand how to play hard. And if you can play really hard, and there's, we talked to our team, when you say play hard, on the surface of it, you think run into the football, right? Well, yes, that's part of it, but that's just kind of the base level of playing hard. I think there's a lot of components that go into being able to play hard. And so the confidence that you want to try to instill in your defense and in your players to where they have a great understanding of what to do and how to do it, tying those things in and allowing them to really be able to read and react and play with great fundamentals and techniques, that's a big part of being able to play hard. So we want to be able to establish that. Philosophically, I think stopping the run is something defensively that is critical to success. It allows you now to hopefully make teams one-dimensional and then go, put pressure and affect the quarterback in different ways. Taking the football away, we're a take-3 football team. That's our mentality. That's Coach McGuire's, creed from a defensive standpoint. We were great at creating takeaways this past season. And at the end of the day, there's a lot of adversity that arises in a football game, but we want to try to make teams have to drive the ball if they're going to get into scoring position against us, limit explosive plays, and at the end of the day, just find a way to get the heck off the field with no points, whatever that looks like. We're all in on that.
We're talking to Sheil Wood if you're just tuning in. He's the defensive coordinator at Texas Tech, and we've got some thoughts I think a lot of people do on the playoff and the way that it should go, and I'm sure for you guys out in Lubbock, you would have loved to have had a home game there. And I know this is above all of our pay grades, but any thoughts on the playoff and the way things have gone? They've decided, I guess, to keep it the way it is now, where first round and now second round too is going to be the way it was before, where they're going to play campus sites and then move to both sites. I mean, how much fun would it have been to have a game in Lubbock? It would have been wild.
Well, I can only imagine what that would have been like. The people of West Texas are just absolutely all in on the Red Raiders. It is the most unique experience that I've ever been a part of in terms of the support of the greater West Texas community and the Lubbock community. If we had a playoff game at Jones AT&T Stadium, I think it would have been nuts. Doesn't even begin to describe what the experience would have been like. But in terms of my thoughts about the playoff, in that regard, my thought is I'd like to be in it again. So whatever that looks like,
right.
I'm all
From
in.
there on, you're good.
I'm all in. If it's in Lubbock, if it's in Alaska, wherever, sign me up. I'd love to participate in it, and I know our team would as well.
In this era that we're in, I mean, it's not unique that everybody needs to have great backing. I mean, Texas Tech has become pretty well known, I guess, for the support over there. And you guys are kind of, in your own space over there, but you luckily have some great boosters that have come together in a collective, I know, and help support what you guys are doing. I mean, you have been there, I guess, and watched this growth of this, and I mean, it's kind of become sort of the gold standard. I think a lot of people sit around and are really jealous of what you guys are building over there. And again, I mean, that's part of the story is the money. It's great coaching, it's finding great players, evaluation, all that, but obviously having great backing helps a lot as well.
To be successful, and this is not new to the rev share NIL era. It's not. To be successful at major college football, you have to have resources, period. And right now, the alignment that we have at Texas Tech is phenomenal, and we've got the support. We've got the support from our administration, our president, our board of regents, our athletic director, the community at large, the Red Raider Nation. And I tell people, I tell recruits, I tell transfers when they come and sit in my office and I'm talking with them, in my opinion, this is the best place to be in college football. I have the best defensive coordinator job in America, being the defensive coordinator for Joey McGuire at Texas Tech University. That's what I believe. It is a special place, and that's something I remind myself of daily. I pinch myself every time I walk into our building, and I'm so thankful and blessed that our family's a part of Texas Tech.
Yeah, you have great backing and get great talent because of that backing, but if you look back, I just watched the movie Miracle the other night and about the 1980 Olympic hockey team, and the NHL All-Stars lost to the Russian team. Even though they had the most talent, they didn't play together. And the whole goal of the movie was you got to get them to play together. So even though you're getting great talent because you have great backing and support, how do you get these guys who are all coming in and highly touted to cohesively, collectively be that unit that is number 3 in scoring defense, that is number 1 in fumbles recovered, and play as a unit with 11 guys on the field and be successful when they're all stars in high school?
Well, it starts with Joey McGuire, period. He is he's a phenomenal head coach, and there's a lot of great head coaches throughout America. I'm biased, I get that. He's as good as anybody in the country, in my opinion. When you walk into our building, the culture that he has established with this football team is phenomenal. The energy, the positivity. It is a fun place to come to work. I've been places where that's not been the case before, and he makes it so much fun. He's so engaging. He's so sincere. He's just a remarkable guy to be around, and it really just starts there. And so I think our players, they love the game of football, and when you become a member of this Texas Tech family, Joey McGuire is going to pour love into you, and our staff is going to pour love into you to support them to be the very best that they can be. And I think that goes a long way to building those bonds of trust and respect for one another. And I think at the end of the day, it's as simple as that, and what that leads to ultimately for us and what it led to this past year is we became a player-led program. Yeah. And when you are a player-led football team, when the leadership ultimately at the end of the day comes out of that locker room, you got a chance. You really do. And that was just a special group to be a part of. And that's what we're in the middle of trying to establish right now for this new team.
Talking to Sheil Wood, if you're just tuning in again, Texas Tech defensive coordinator. I'm sure you get this a lot. You're my first Sheil. Where's the name from?
Really? Golly.
You think you just meet him all the time?
No. My full name is Dave. My first name is David Sheil Wood Jr. So okay. My father is David Sheil Wood. He grew up in eastern North Carolina, and my maternal grandmother, her name was Sheil. Her father had immigrated to America from Scotland, and there's a lake, a loch, as they call it over there in northern Scotland, called Loch Sheil.
Okay.
So that's where my name comes from. It's a family name. And at some point there, after I was born, they decided that I was going to go by Sheil instead of having 2 Davids in the house, or a David and a little Dave, or whatever the case may be. So, it's really neat. I love my name, and but I haven't met, other than my dad, anybody else with that name either. So it's a cool thing.
Have you seen the loch? Have you been over to Scotland?
I have not. I do have a framed picture of it.
Okay.
That hangs in our living room at the house. And I think my grandparents, before they passed, went over there and I think my parents are hoping to make a trip sometime soon, and I would like to at some point in my lifetime for sure.
Yeah. I have a buddy who always tells me, you're what's next guy. I'm always like, okay, well, this is really fun, but what are we going to do next? So you're probably getting a little bit of that now. What's next? How much do you have back? And, we talk a lot about, too, not only finding new guys, but retaining the players that you want to keep year to year. So what's it look like on paper for Texas Tech for next year?
We were excited about this new football team, and it's always been the case. It's not anything new in terms of the climate that we're currently in. Every year is a new team, and so I think that we have a lot of great returning experience from this past year's team across the board. But as it pertains to defense, we've got a lot of guys that have played a lot of snaps and played at a really high level coming back. So that's very encouraging. And then we added some great pieces, with some of the guys that we lost that are getting ready to, preparing right now for the NFL draft that are going to have great opportunities moving forward in their career. We've, I think, assembled a great cast of guys to come in, and we're just working right now to build that team chemistry and that bond similar to what we did last year. And but there'll be new challenges, there'll be new opportunities with a new team, and we've got to do a great job as a coaching staff of getting those guys up to speed and just continuing to build. The thing that I'm most excited about is that we have retained a large majority of our defensive coaching staff, and we're in year 2. Last year was year 1, and year 1 is a pickle. It's not easy to get everybody on the same page. It starts with the coaching staff, then it bleeds into the players, and so to be able to, I'm just so proud of our staff and our players in the first year of a new system and everything coming together to be able to have had the success that we had. It's just a credit to all the hard work that they put in, and we're excited for the second year of the system, even though we got some new guys and what that holds for us.
Yeah. Well, you didn't seem to have any trouble getting the jar open, Coach. It may have been a pickle, but you did a pretty darn good job, I would say, last year. So keep it going this year. Good luck, and good luck tonight, and enjoy your stay in Hot Springs. I think you guys will enjoy the experience, and maybe we'll see you back here again in the not-too-distant future.
Well, thanks for having me, and wreck 'em.
All right, that is Sheil Wood. I don't know that he got my dad joke there, my pickle joke. I thought it was pretty good. I got nothing at him. Typical defensive coordinator, serious all the time. But I enjoyed that. What a story about his name, too. But, look, Texas Tech is one of those teams, right? They're on the scene now, and you cannot deny them. I think we got time for one more before we take our final break, and then we'll head into the ceremony here. We may have to cut this one a hair short, but let's talk about Indiana. We have to. I mean, national champions, Brian Haynes, great story. He was nominated for the award 4 of the past 5 seasons at App State, at James Madison, and now the last 2 years at Indiana. We got a chance to talk to him last year, too. Really engaging dude. You can tell he is so grateful and thankful for where he is. He is definitely taking it in as a Signetti protege, and he is doing a phenomenal job with the defense at Indiana. Number 2 in rush defense, number 2 in scoring defense, number 2 in total defense. Phenomenal work by Brian Haynes. Brian Haynes joining us, defensive coordinator from Indiana. And, again, they claimed the crown in what was really a true road game, I guess. But you guys got maybe more seats than you normally would on a road game. But, first of all, congrats, Coach, on the national championship. Everybody sort of fell in love with the Indiana story, especially fans around here who didn't have a lot to root for their team. So what a ride for you guys.
It was a heck of a ride. And I love coming down here. I mean, I keep on hearing, I'm just glad you whooped up on Bama.
Yes.
You landed Arkansas, and everybody's just glad you beat up on Bama. But it was a heck of a run. It was an easy team to fall in love with, whether it be from the outside looking in or just me being in the heat of it. Like, that's a good team. Some great young men in there, great leaders. They played hard for one another. And I think you could see that. You could see that in the games. And I think that's why it's kind of easy to like that team that we had.
We just talked to Corey Heatherman, DC at Miami, and, they got doubted going into the playoff. I think a lot of people had their questions at the minimum, if not doubts, about Indiana backing up the great year from the year before. And not only did you guys meet that expectation, you surpassed it by far. So did you guys feel a different kind of pressure this last year than you did the year before when you guys sort of came out of nowhere?
I don't know if the pressure was any different. I think you'd have to ask the guys. It wasn't any different for us as a coaching staff. I mean, we have a process and a plan that we implement every single week. We put a game plan together and go attack. So I don't think there was any lack of confidence from our side. You'd have to ask the players theirs. What I'd say, though, is I do think the players heard a lot of that. They heard a lot of the criticism. They heard that they didn't belong, that they should never be back in the playoffs. And I think that they put that chip on their shoulder where it belongs.
Coach Signetti, I don't want to say he makes it look easy, but it's just like, I win, this is our process, and he's so matter-of-fact about it. It's just, yeah, I mean, but it's like, it's so easy to believe what he's saying. And I'm sure a lot of coaches feel that way about the way they do things, but he makes you believe it. It's different. I don't know. What is unique about him being inside the room with him versus us looking at him from the outside?
Yeah, I think it's some of the things that you just hit on right there. It is confidence, but it's conviction in the plan. You know, we don't waffle and waver off of what we planned on doing. If our plan of attack is to run the ball, stop the run, then damn it, we're going to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So full buy-in from him, and then I think we do a great job as assistants, and maybe this is why I'm here, but several other coaches on our staff could be here competing for this award because I think we have the greatest staff in college football, to be honest with you. But it permeates down from Coach Ignetti, so then there's confidence and conviction in each position room. And then let's go further with decentralized command. Each position room has a leader, and they're speaking the same language too. So when you get an entire unit of people, entire organization of people that believe and are speaking the same message, that's what you're seeing on Saturdays.
You were part of the collection that came up from JMU. What was the transition like? Because, again, you guys had huge success there, and it just carried over, which, I mean, again, it's pretty crazy. You don't necessarily see that. And you brought a lot of guys along with you, too. So I'm curious about the process and also what kind of benefit that was bringing guys from JMU that knew the way you operated.
Yeah, well, the good thing with the process is it didn't change at all. You know, we had gotten to that rhythm. We did 5 years at James Madison, and nothing changed from, 2019 when we first got there, 2018, and then all the way to 2023 when we left and went to Indiana. So the process stayed the same. And then the buffer of bringing some of those guys that spoke the language. We talk about decentralized command, having several different James Madison players in those different rooms that knew the scheme, that knew the way we handled business, that understood the process. I think that was a total game changer. I think that's what shifted the culture so quickly. Could we have gotten it done if we hadn't brought those James Madison guys? I really don't know, and we'll never know. I'm sure glad we did, though. I think that's what turned the whole thing around.
I mentioned that people around here were rooting for you guys because you're a great story. I think the other thing is it gives people like Arkansas hope because they say, well, Indiana's never been good at football. They got a guy that came up from James Madison. Maybe we could do this someday too. Do you feel like what you guys have done could be replicated anywhere? I mean, you got a pretty good track record here to do it in multiple schools. I mean, would this work the way you guys do things, you think, anywhere?
I think it'll be hard to match what we've done. Again, I think you see small examples of something similar. Like, Texas Tech is this rising program, and they're investing properly, and you throw those guys on film, and you see some just dudes flying around. So I think that there's versions of this being able to be replicated. But what we did was unique. I mean, that was that was a program that was the most losing of all time, and we won a natty in 2 years. So will that be replicated? You're going to have to show me that one.
Whenever you're at a program like Indiana and you're in a conference like the Big Ten and you're going to Ohio State, Michigan, some of the absolute legends of the sport in terms of programs, and now you're disrupting the status quo. What is that doing to the conference and college football as a whole when you're, like Justin said, you're taking things that these programs expect and you're taking them away from them and basically saying you can't do anything about it? How has that changed in your program? What has that done to your players and to your fans? I mean, fans love to talk trash more than anyone else. Indiana fans talking trash to Ohio State fans is something I never thought would exist on this planet, and here you are changing the narrative.
Yeah, it's fun to hear it said that way. I mean, that's been powerful. It's been powerful, and I think that was the last hurdle that we had to clear. I thought that maybe we were going to be able to clear it in year one. We played Michigan at home and cleared that hurdle. We beat big bad Michigan, but then we ran into the buzzsaw that was Ohio State. We got beat by Notre Dame. That's always I think it's the final big boss that you got to clear, though. You got to beat the guy. To be the man, you got to beat the man, right? So we didn't beat the man last year. That was Ohio State, Notre Dame. This year we did. And, going into that Big Ten championship game, I think even the fan base that was talking junk might have been thinking, are they really going to do this? Are they really going to do this? But I will say this. I don't think there was any doubt in the players' minds. There was definitely no doubt in the coaches' minds. At the end of the day, it's colors, it's a logo, it's a brand, it's a fight song. But you put your 11 out there, we'll put ours, and our guys are ready to meet in the middle.
Talking to Brian Haynes again, DC at Indiana. You guys did have adversity. Every team does. And one of the strangest things that I've ever seen happen, you guys win the Big Ten championship game, and Stephen Daly's over there celebrating with fans, and what we call a non-contact injury, I guess, Coach, right? I mean, but just a tragic deal there. Can you tell us what happened when you guys found out what the situation was?
Yeah, what a terrible celebration for me as an individual. I hugged Stephen Daly as soon as the game ended. So I knew that the game was over. The clock said 0-0-0-0, and we're Big Ten champs. So I remember that. And then I was hugging my daughter, and somebody came up to me and said, they just carted Stephen Daly out of here. And I go, well, what happened? They said, I don't know, he collapsed. I thought maybe it was a situation of adrenaline dump, just complete, I don't know, too exhausted to stand anymore. Come to find out it was a knee. I ran through the bowels of the stadium looking for him because they kind of pointed out where they had carted him to. I wanted to see what was going on. But, yeah, it wasn't until, later, maybe an hour or so after the game had finalized, I figured out what had happened. And, yeah, wasn't quite the celebration I was hoping for.
And just a crazy thing. And again, you guys overcome that. This guy's a key piece. I mean, he was one of the most productive players in college football this year.
Yeah, I think when he got hurt, and this is I'm biased. I think when he got hurt, I think he was the best defensive end in college football. I believe that. I really do. Just the amount of disruption he was causing. And you can look at the numbers if you wanted to argue that, but I think statistically what you'll see is that was the best defensive end in college football when he got hurt.
So I asked this of some of your counterparts here. What do you do for an encore? I mean, what's the future for Indiana in, I guess, the near future, at least for this upcoming season? What's your level of optimism of being able to not necessarily repeat as national champions, but to be, back in the mix again?
Yeah, I think we're a process-oriented operation. We always have been, and that's Coach Ignatius' calling card. It's like we're not focused on one-upping what we did last year. We're going to celebrate last year, and now we've put it to bed, and we want to be great tomorrow. We want to be great going into spring ball. When we get to spring ball, we want to improve from practice 1 to practice 15. We want to have a great spring game. It's these small milestones along the way, and then ultimately it circles itself back to go 1-0 every week. I think if we do that, we're not talking about 16-0. We're talking about 30-0, 31. But that's a down the road thing. In the meantime, let's do a great job tomorrow.
Yeah. Do you want to be a head coach someday?
One of these days.
One of these days.
One of these days, I might explore that option. I love defense. I love X's and O's. I love the board. I love film. I think when you put that head coach set on, things change, and I don't want to get pulled away from what I'm passionate about.
Gotcha. Well, good luck tonight. Congratulations on a great year. And, we'll probably just see you here next year again, too. So you're on a good run.
I'm hoping I'll win it, and then they kick me out for 3 years.
Yeah.
So I'll see you in 4 years.
That'd be fine, too. Very deserving. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, that's Brian Haynes, and yes, back-to-back for him and the Indiana defensive coordinator, top 2 in defense, scoring, and total. So a phenomenal job for him. We're going to take a break. This will be our final break of the night. Again, want to thank our great sponsors for making this possible, UAMS, Double B's, Fence Brokers, and Jones & Son. We'll be back in a second, and if we have time, we'll play a little bit more from some other finalists of the Broyles Award tonight. If not, we'll dive right into the ceremony itself. So stick around. We're all going to find out together here on The Buzz.
I'm Dr. Lowry Barnes. When it comes to orthopedic care, there's no place like the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health. We built this hospital just for you, with state-of-the-art surgical suites, advanced technology, and the state's largest group of fellowship-trained orthopedic surgeons. It's the best place in Arkansas to get you moving again. And if you need urgent orthopedic care, UAMS Ortho Now is right here for you at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health, where motion lives and service leads.
Hey, this is Chris Walker at Fence Brokers. Looking for top quality fencing at unbeatable prices? At Fence Brokers, we're your local fence distributor with everything you need. Wood, vinyl, chain link, ornamental iron, access control, and more. Whether you're a contractor or a do-it-yourself homeowner, our staff of experts will help you find the perfect solution for your project. Fast delivery, huge selection, and personalized service set us apart. Visit us in Bryant or find us at fencebrokers.com. Fence Brokers, going the extra mile.
Hi, this is Jacob Jones, inviting you to shop with us at Jones & Son. Family owned and focused on you. When it comes to fine jewelry, shop us first and shop us last. Once you see the difference in quality and price, you'll be a customer for life. At Jones & Son, we offer the same great prices every day, 12 months out of the year. Take your time. Shop around. We know you'll be back because you deserve to make the decision that's best for you. Jones & Son, for over 40 years, at 11121 Rodney Parham Road, focused completely on you.
Razorback Foundation members, it's time to renew your membership. Annual Fund Pledge renewals are now open and due March 31st. Renew now by visiting RazorbackFoundation.com or text RENEW to 479-349-4313. Be part of the tradition for the new era of Razorback football under Coach Silverfield. Renew your Razorback Foundation membership today. Text RENEW to 479-349-4313. Go Hogs!
All right, welcome back to Oaklawn here in Hot Springs, and Wayne Smith, the general manager of Oaklawn Racing Casino Resort, speaking to the assembled crowd here at the 2026 Broyles Award. It's the 30th year of the award, and we are thrilled to be a part of it here tonight. We are going to bring you the ceremony once we get into it. Holly Rowe is here. I mentioned that. We got a chance to visit with her earlier today on The Buzz, and you're going to hear a little Q&A with her and David Basil, maybe rekindling their visit from earlier this year when she came in for the Touchdown Club. But Holly's a treat. She is all positive energy all the time, does a phenomenal job. She's a Hall of Fame broadcaster, and we are so thrilled to have her back. Mark May's also in attendance tonight, and Mark's going to also speak a little bit tonight. So we are going to have our introductions for the coaches. We're going to get them up there and let them speak in a little bit as well. And listen, it's going to be a fun night, and we're gonna crown a winner at some point here and give them a big old trophy that we have here tonight. So before we get to that, let's hear from, I think we'll have time maybe to play a little bit from each of our final two candidates here. And Corey Heatherman, he and the Miami Hurricanes got to play on their home field. They had a great year, top 5 scoring defense in the nation. They were 4th in team sacks, and boy, they've got some dudes up front. They were scary defensive linemen, Bain and those guys. He did a great job getting them on track. It's his first ever nomination, and obviously his first ever trip to the event as a finalist. So let's hear a little bit from Corey Heatherman, the Miami defensive coordinator. We may cut this one just a hair short, Damon. We are joined by, we're going to talk to defensive coordinators all day, so I'm hoping they can get me fired up. This should be no problem, I would think. But we're excited to be here as part of this celebration of great coaches and college football and all the things. And Corey Heatherman's joining us. He's the DC at Miami, and they made it all the way to the national championship game, which was right down the street. So it was pretty easy for them. But obviously ran into a great Indiana team. It was a great championship game. Congratulations on what was a remarkable season, Coach.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So what was that like, the experience of playing in your home stadium in a national championship game? It may never happen again.
Yeah, it was, having to not travel again, especially after going to the Cotton Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, and going down to College Station. That was a blessing for our guys, having not to have to go that far on the road. Now, the hardest thing was just blocking out the distractions.
Yeah.
Being local, having the support behind us, and the city really came. It was unbelievable how they came alive for us. The support they showed our players and the team all the way through the playoff run, but especially that last week with the national title right there.
How bad was the ticket requests?
There was a lot of ticket requests.
I imagine. I mean, even if you'd been playing on the moon, it would have been that way. But you're home. You're like, surely you can get whatever you want now, right?
It's unbelievable. You start going to some of the bowl games, especially the national title. Some of the people that started asking for. I think I had a realtor from the year before reach back out to me. So.
Yeah. Well, y'all were dominant in the first couple rounds, and you ran into a really good Ole Miss team and did enough to win that game too. So take us back to week 1 in the playoff. Not that the regular season wasn't impressive too, but that A&M game, early start on the road in College Station. It's on a campus side. We were, just talking to Sheila Wood about that, and I think I'd love to see 2 rounds on campus because I think it's such a magical thing. But you guys go on the road and win that game. What was that experience like? You guys had to be great that day.
Yeah, I think just the way our guys embraced the environment, and the way that we set the tone early in that game. I think it kind of took the crowd, took the home field advantage out of the stadium, and I think that's really what helped fuel our guys all day. And then, I think just going through it with, did we belong in? Did we not belong? Our guys had a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and our guys were, and they played that way. And I thought defensively we came out and they moved the ball early in the game, and we had a huge sack strip to stop the drive, Keontae Scott. And then after that, our guys really responded and played well all day long. I mean, the block field goal by Bain after they had one explosive all day. It was on that play. And, our guys just continuously stepped up and answered. And it was, a guy that had been there for 3 years and done everything through the program, a guy that transferred in and kind of, had a second life and played unbelievable all year. And, we're looking forward to seeing where he goes now in the draft. And then the guy that seals the deal is a true freshman from our backyard, from right there at Columbus High School. So, for him to step up in that situation and make that play on that third down and end that game in that situation is huge.
Bain is it's a scary name, and he's a very scary player for opposing quarterbacks.
Or those watching.
Has he embraced the character of Bain? Does he have like a Bain mask at home, or is that part of his deal? Because to me, it really fits nicely.
I think it goes more as Hurricane Bain.
Hurricane vein, okay.
Yeah, I think that's the one. But, I think just him playing at home, playing in his backyard, playing right behind his family, just that was kind of everything. And then just the way he went about it. I mean, it would have been a little bit more fitting if he did throw the mask on, but no, Reuben Bain's a guy that just his work ethic, how he attacks it every single day, who he is as a person. I mean, he was unbelievable competitor, and he made our team so much better every single day.
Yeah. So tell me, kind of walk me through what you guys experienced with Indiana in the championship game. Obviously, it's a huge stage. They're a great team, and you got the Heisman Trophy quarterback. You guys had to plan, around all the weapons they've got offensively, because we talk a lot about their defense, and they're great. But I mean, it's not just Mendoza. They had a lot of weapons. Their run game, I think, maybe was probably not talked about enough. What was the experience like preparing for them and then playing them in the championship?
Yeah, I think just the way they go about the process of the game, and they don't ever have negative plays. They don't ever really get off track. All the little margins that they steal field position or an extra play or an extra series, how they control the game, they do a really good job. And that was the biggest thing. We had to keep them off track. I thought early in the game we did a really good job getting them off track a little bit. We had the 3-and-out to start, or I think we had a 4-and-out to start the game. And then, the one scoring drive in the first half, we kind of hurt ourselves a little bit. We had them third down and off track. We get a PI, and then we had them third and 13. We jump offside. And then they came back and ran the ball. It became 4-down territory, and I thought we'd be in a good, kind of a safe call there, and they kind of caught us and ran the ball and scored. And I thought our guys really responded in the second half. And, it's we just got to make a couple more plays there at the end of the game. I think they had the 4th and 5. They convert, and then the quarterback draw, in the red zone, which is probably the biggest play of the game.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, they stick to the script. It was, the formation they were in, 2-by-2, tight end out number 1. We kind of knew it was coming there.
Yeah.
There were different things. We knew the slot fade or the fade to number 1. They put 80 out there, and they got Max Pro full slide to take our D line out of it a little bit, throw the 1-on-1 up there, and those guys did a really good job. But they had the offensive line I thought was different. I thought they did a really good job. They worked really well together. They didn't make mistakes. I thought the backs never lost yards, and then the quarterback made them go really well. So, but I thought they were just a complete football team.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking to Corey Heatherman. If you're just tuning in, DC at Miami, took it all the way to the national championship game. There were a lot of people when the seedings were announced that didn't feel like you guys belonged in this deal. Hunter Yurachek, being the AD at Arkansas, he took a lot of heat over not only the way he comported himself on these shows, but also the selection process here. And I think those guys obviously ended up smelling like a rose at the end of the day. Did you guys use that as a little bit of a chip on your shoulder that there were a lot of doubters going into the playoff?
Yeah, I think we absolutely use that as some motivation. I just think, our guys, I thought the way we started the season, we came out playing really dominant football against some very good teams. I mean,
right.
Notre Dame in the opener, we had SEC Florida, we at Florida State when they were rolling. And, I thought South Florida was kind of a G5 that was playing really well. They were explosive on offense. They did a really good job there. And, after that, I thought we just got beat up. We played a really hard non-conference schedule. And that's kind of the, what do you want to do? You want to play no one and then try to get in, or do you want to play a really tough non-conference schedule? And we played 3 teams in our first 4 games in the top 25. Right out the gate, and I thought we got beat up a little bit. And then, the ACC, Louisville and SMU and some of those teams are really good football teams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think they'd be, coming from the Big Ten, I thought they were very good football teams, the way they spread you out, the way they attack you, and the different things they did. And I thought our guys responded after that.
Yeah.
It was November 1st. We lost down there in Dallas. And I think from that point forward, our guys kind of made a business decision how we were going to attack practice, how we were going to go about blocking out the noise outside and just being about us and doing our job and, one play at a time. And I think, when everything came out with the polls, and I thought that was a little bit extra motivation for our guys to go.
Yeah. We've got some guys that, have been through different things. That's what's fun about the Broyles Award. Everybody's got their own story. Matt Patricia is a name I think that's pretty familiar to most of our listeners, haven't been part of Super Bowl teams. Your story is pretty unique. And I'm just levels of football. I mean, Broyles Award exists. I love your story in getting to this point. So would you share kind of the path you've been through? And I was going to ask you, too, for those who are just tuning in, yes, he's from Massachusetts. And I was going to ask you about the language barrier talking to your guys, but I assume they pick up on Massachusetts language okay.
I hide it pretty well until I get upset. So I've learned to cover it up.
But you've been around, Coach. I mean, at the different levels. Just share with the listeners what you've been through as far as a coach goes.
Yeah, I think, playing Division III football and then, ultimately starting in Division III football, you kind of learn everything from the ground up. I didn't go through the recruiting at this level as a player, So that was all brand new to me when I got to this level. And then just the resources you have at this level are so different. My first year, you drive the transpo van from campus to where we practiced, and it helped set up the field and help with the laundry and get the things in the lockers and get things set up and charge the portaphones and in the hotel the night before to make sure everything's ready to go for game day back when we used those, and SVHS tapes and dubbing over things and copying it, and all that stuff. Like now when I look at our guys, I'm like, what are you guys doing now? Like, you guys have a little bit more free time.
Yeah.
But, and just the biggest thing for me is just the people that were a part of the experience, the people that helped me out. I think in high school, first off, my family, my parents, my dad, how hard he worked, and I had a grandfather that played big-time college football, and I used to love the stories.
Yeah.
He still reminds me he scored a touchdown on Miami.
Where'd he go?
So he played at Boston University.
Oh, okay.
Back with Harry Gannis in the backfield, and back at BU back in the day when they had football. But, but really, the different people, Rich Manello at Kings, or, all the different people at Springfield College, and then, that kind of help, Mike DeLong, Mike Sarasulo, and all those different guys, Jack Hollick, that helped kind of, coach me through how to coach, how to run a room, how to draw cards, how to plan, how to get organized, how to recruit, all those different things, and then, like I said, even all the way back to high school, my history teacher in high school was the Division III coordinator at Worcester State. He's now the head coach at Yale.
Okay.
So just being able to see that, the process he would go through and how much he loved it, I think all that stuff affected me and my path as I went on.
Yeah. I want to ask about your head coach, too. I mean, he's one of the bigger personalities in college football, and he is not afraid to say what he thinks, and I love that. It's got to be a great guy to work for, I would think.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable working for Coach, and it's pretty cool when in practice the highlight of the day every day is the offensive line versus the defensive line. You don't see that a lot in practice, but Coach is obviously every day when break meetings he goes down and gets a lift. Still, he still looks like he could line up and get a couple snaps out there, but just the way he goes about it, and the importance he puts on the trenches, and then how he is around the players, I think is unbelievable.
All right, finally, not only coach, big personality. You got big personalities who are former players on the sidelines being featured every game. What was that like, especially the national championship game? Felt like everybody was descending on Miami, all the former players, all the greats. What was that like, having them support you guys and talking to your players? Not only you having to motivate them, but those guys are motivating me as well.
Yeah, I think, the amount of people that come back to Miami, the amount of people that still live in Coral Gables, still live in South Florida, it's unbelievable. And then, the message that we get from our guys, like Jonathan Vilm is one that, he addresses the team and he goes about it, and it's unbelievable. Like, the way that he sends the message, the way that he helps the players and everyone else involved. There's so many different guys that are in the building, on the staff, in the area, that help with the players, whatever they need, on the field, off the field, helping them, through life, class, how they adjusted to it, how they prepared to get in the NFL. That's an awesome experience. And that first game, seeing him on the sideline,
Ray Lewis,
I joke around. I think the first time I bumped into someone on the sideline, I'm like, who is this? It's Michael Irvin. So I can't say him, I can't yell at him. And then we give up the first touchdown on kind of like a busted pocket scramble against Notre Dame. I see Ray Lewis just yelling at me. So, it's a little bit different when you have that, but just having those guys behind you, having those guys back you, and like even going to the Cotton Bowl, I'm on the phone with a recruit, and a guy comes up and he wants to say hi to me, and I felt bad. I didn't even recognize who it was. It's Russell Maryland just trying to say hi. Wow. There's so many different people everywhere you go, and what they give back to the program is unbelievable, and the brotherhood that's at Miami. You hear about it all the time, and a lot of places you go, you hear about the guys and you see them in the rafters, but the brotherhood at Miami is real. And It's unbelievable.
Everybody loves a winner, Coach.
Absolutely.
Everybody loves a winner. All right, well, listen, good luck tonight, and good luck next season. Appreciate the time today.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
All right, that is Corey Heatherman, the defensive coordinator at Miami, and we are getting close to joining the actual ceremony here at Oaklawn, and it's like Molly and Beth are going back up to visit with Baz. I think we're going to join them in just a minute here when Holly Rowe joins him up there, and he's going to get a chance to visit with the reporter, who is a busy bee all year round, softball, basketball, football, and certainly appreciate her coming in and being a part of this. Let's hear just a little bit. Mike Bobo, offensive coordinator, the lone OC, and the good news for him and for Kirby Smart, they get their quarterback back next year. Gunnar Stockton, finalist for the Manning Award, the Johnny Unitas Gold Arm Award last year. He will be back as a full-time starter for the second year. What a treat that is. We kind of thought that might have a little more of an impact on Arkansas's quarterback this last year, but we'll see what Gunnar Stockton looks like. Under Mike Bobo, the former Georgia quarterback, our finalist of the 2026 Broyles Award. And we are joined now by a coach that is pretty familiar, I think, to most of the fans around Arkansas because he led a team to beating them when he was at Colorado State. But we haven't almost gotten over it, Coach. Not quite. Mike Bobo joining us, the former Georgia great, who's now coaching there as the offensive coordinator. Congratulations on being back. First time in Hot Springs, but third time as a finalist. So,
yeah, I appreciate y'all having me on. It's an awesome event and truly an honor to be here and be recognized.
So I'm curious, being a head coach, and there are a lot of, I think, coaches that like to bring former head coaches on their staff if they can. Just curious about your perspective, having been on the other side of things, what it's like being back as a coordinator now.
Well, I'm glad I'm not sitting in the head coach's seat, to be honest. Even though we got our own pressures as being a coordinator because everybody can call plays, but what the head coaches have to deal with nowadays with NIL and managing the roster and the portal, I'm glad I just have to focus on the offense and my quarterbacks.
Well, you've done a good job, obviously. You guys had a nice run this year. So give me perspective, I guess, for the year that you guys had and getting into the playoff and all that.
Yeah, extremely pleased with our guys and proud of our guys, how they played this year. Back-to-back, really 3 times in a row to Atlanta, but back-to-back SEC champions. Hadn't been done at University of Georgia since the early 80s. Ultimately, the ultimate goal is to win the national championship, but a lot to be proud of our guys, how they fought, how they were resilient in a lot of games, finding ways to win the ball game in the fourth quarter. I think, obviously when you lose, the way we did at the end of the season, there's always that bad taste in your mouth, but I'm excited about the way we finished, and I'm excited about next year because we got a lot of guys coming back.
When you're in rematch situations, what kind of challenge does that create for a coach?
Well, number one is you think, you've got all this tape that you study, and then you've got the game that you played against them. You know you're going to get something different, and sometimes you chase a lot of ghosts, thinking you're not going to get this same front or you're not going to get this same coverage, you're not going to get these same twists that, they do, and sometimes you're trying a lot of things that maybe other people did against you, what we call copycats, that maybe Ole Miss will do instead of focusing on yourself, what we need to do to move the football.
You put up 34. I mean, a lot of days that's plenty.
Yeah. Well, one of them was a defensive touchdown, so really we didn't put up 34. You sound like my wife. You scored 34. I'm like, no, we didn't. Defensive touchdown.
Is not me, right? You're like, that's.
Yeah, but we didn't. We played really well offensively in the first game, and so did they. They did, but we didn't punt, and then eventually we warmed down and got a couple stops in the fourth quarter. The second game, we didn't play as well offensively, and you need to play really well offensively because going against them and that quarterback, the amount of plays that he makes is unreal. And we get down 10 late, but to fight back and have a chance there at the end to win the ball game, we got settled for a field goal and tied it, and they went down and kicked a field goal. But it would have been nice to punch in that touchdown right there at the end in the fourth quarter. But, again, our kids didn't quit. They fought. They put ourselves in a position to win the game, and Ole Miss was better that day.
Talking to Mike Bobo, if you just tuned in, OC over at Georgia, not many guys get a chance to go back and coach either as a coordinator or head coach at their alma mater, and you've seen the evolution, I guess, of Georgia football. So what's it like being back, and just how different is it from your playing days?
Well, it's a lot different than our playing days. One, we're a lot better. We got better players than when I played, a lot better players than me and Kirby that played in those days. But I think, Georgia has always been, people like to say a sleeping giant. And there's a lot of success. We're there with Coach Rick, and Kirby Smart has taken it to another level. Just his consistency day in and day out. His focus and his drive to be the best. You really can't get comfortable in that building, whether you're a player or a coach. Every day we're trying to compete and put ourselves in position. We got a chance to win championships, and I think that's why he has consistency. And then being back at a place that I played, where I met my wife, where all my kids were born, and now I'm coaching my son who plays center for us. I'm just truly blessed.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
You got an offensive line son.
Yeah, I have an offensive line. Well, people think I look like an offensive lineman now. But
I watched you play. I'm old enough to have watched you play, so I don't think of you in those terms, Coach. But
he's. I've got 5 kids, and he's off the charts bigger than all of them. And just here's a guy that was a developmental player Kirby took a chance on him, and he's worked his tail off. Worked his way into starting this year and being named team captain. I'm so, just as a dad, so proud of him and what he's done and how he's represented not only the University of Georgia but his family.
I'm going to ask you this, and then I'm going to ask you also, would I get the same answer for him? Do you coach him harder than the other guys?
I do. I do coach him hard. I played for my dad in high school, and he coached me hard too. But he's a lineman, so being a lineman, you get yelled at all the time anyway by the line coach. So I don't have to really mess it. But when the offensive coordinator is getting on to the line of scrimmage, I focus that at Drew, my son, and he does a good job taking it, like all the kids do. They know that. Sometimes I get off my rocker a little bit, and I tend to point it more direction toward my son.
You're Georgia born and bred.
Yes.
You were born in Augusta?
I was born in Augusta, Georgia.
Did you grow up in Augusta?
I did not grow up in Augusta. My mom was from Augusta, and both my parents graduated from Georgia, and they were doing their student teaching there. I call home Thomasville, Georgia, which is about 30 minutes above Tallahassee in South Georgia, and that's where I grew up and went to high school and call my hometown.
They have a nice municipal golf course in Augusta. Have you ever had a chance?
I think our head coach is playing it today.
Of course he is.
I think he's playing it today.
Have you gotten out there?
I've gotten out there a couple times, and that was my first stint at the University of Georgia. I haven't been back since I've been back. It's at 22. But I asked one time, and then something I had. My kids were all in high school, and I couldn't go. But I do get to go to the tournament every year, and people, take care of you, take you over there, and it's just you walk on that course, and it's hallowed grounds. It's funny you mentioned that the first time I was in the Broyles, early, I think it was 12.
12. Yeah.
Coach Broyles, and you had the breakfast and sit down with him. I was talking about Augusta for at least 30 minutes with him about his experiences there, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, listen, anytime you can talk to a member, you want to talk about Augusta as much as you can. On the off chance they say, well, let me take you out there sometime.
Exactly.
Let me show you around.
Yeah, exactly.
Great flowers.
Yes.
Yeah.
For us around here, we go, so you remember the lotion, huh? What's that like? So we have our counterpart over here. It's
which
not
is really nice.
Exactly the same, but it is a beautiful place for sure. So what, as far as recruiting goes and the way things operate now, is it from a coach's perspective? And again, there's money involved in all the different things now that we didn't have to deal with in the past, but are you still doing the same things as far as trying to identify guys and going through the process, or is it completely different?
No, it's the same. First you're going to turn on that tape, and you're going to see if you think he's good enough for you to play, for him to play at the University of Georgia, and then you start digging into is it all the character, the intangibles, building relationships not just with him, but the people that are going to have a say in where they're going to go to school. So that's all the same, but. We still, when I say we, Coach Martin, University of Georgia, work on the premise of we're trying to still sign high school players and develop them. I think that's one of those stats that came out in the playoffs. We had 90% of our starters were guys that we signed out of high school, where everybody else was like 50%. Now, not to say we're not going to go in the portal, not to say we're not going to try to find pieces, but both of us, we're coaches at heart. Our dads were high school coaches. It's all about the development and those kids growing and going through that process is why you coach. So we're looking for that type of kid. Now, at the end of the day, let's not be naive. You're going to have that conversation with that young man or their representation about NIL. And I like to say, I'm going to be your coach. We're going to pass this down to somebody else, and they're going to have that conversation with you. But we're fortunate enough to be at a place, the University of Georgia, we're going to be able to compete, with everybody.
Gunner has got a year left. Is he back with you?
He has one more year, yes.
Okay.
How do you keep people – because, like you said, you guys are still really focused on bringing in talent at the high school level and developing them, while everyone else is trying to get anyone who's disgruntled at your university to come to their place. How do you talk to your players about that, especially with – you don't have to get too deep into it, but we know that tampering is rampant right now within the sport. So how do you guys mitigate that and try to hold on to the guys that you spend a lot of time recruiting out of high school?
Well, I think one is relationship. I think, two, it's the development and the track record of development at all positions by our head coach since he's been at the University of Georgia. And then the third thing is he's constantly brings up the elephant in the room and talks about the portal and talks about opportunities. You can go here if you want to, but what we're doing at Georgia is going to be different, and it's going to pay off, and he shows examples. So I think the open line of communication by our head coach to our players constantly about why you're at the University of Georgia, what you're going to get, the experience you're going to go through, how it's going to pay off, not just in the immediate, but long haul. And sometimes we think long haul, they think NFL and contract, but long haul for your whole life. And Kirby does a great job of constantly bringing that up and talking about it and not shying away from why you're here. If it's not Georgia's not for everybody. And he'll say that all the time. It might not be for you, and it's okay. Come see me. You can go somewhere else. But we're going to do it a certain way here, and I think that's why year in and year out, whether you have the 16 draft picks the one year, or you might be a little bit down and have 8. We're still going to be in it because of the culture that he builds.
A little bit down
spoiled,
and 8 is
just spoiled
just
man.
the line of, hey, we have 16 and we may be a little down this year. Only 8 draft picks, Justin.
7 in the first round, but we're doing the best we can over here.
That one year that I was at Auburn and we played them at 21. That defense, I was like, oh my God.
What do you do?
I mean, it's like the field was like 300 yards long. You're like, you get one first down. Let's call timeout and celebrate.
Trayvon Walker and all those guys.
It was. Whew.
We're talking to Mike Bobo, who just tuned in again. OC at Georgia. I was going to ask you about year to year and getting a quarterback back as a full-time starter. And, Arkansas just went through this with Taylor Green. And Coach Petrino, I think everybody has a ton of respect for. And I think everybody's expecting him to make this great big jump year to year. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. Now, look, he's electrifying, did a lot of great things for Arkansas. He was fun. He's a great kid. But for you, with another year with Gunnar, what's your expectation or hope, I guess? What's his next big step?
Well, you want to see improvement of him as a player, as a leader. And I don't think, you talk about, hey, we're going to improve, you're going to take this. I think you go back to basics. I talked to him on the phone last night, to be honest, about some of the things that he's going to do in the offseason away from the University of Georgia to work on certain things fundamentally. He's got, a certain guy he goes to, but going back to basics, taking nothing for granted, the build and the growth, I think, is going to happen because he gained confidence this year, being a first-time starter, making plays in crucial situations, in big-time games, on the road. I think he's going to gain confidence from that, and I think we've got to do a good job as coaches to pull that out. But going back to the basics, we take nothing for granted at the University of Georgia.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, we'll let you go on that note. Good luck tonight, and good luck next season, and appreciate the time.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that is our final finalist, Mike Bobo. I did not expect us to get through all 5 of them. I'll be honest with you, folks. I mean, it was we're about 30 or so minutes behind where we were scheduled to be at this point, but we'll just see where we are. Holly Rowe is actually working. Baz put her to work tonight, if you can believe that. She is talking to coaches who are currently coaching in college football about the impact they're having and some things going on at their various universities. Spoke to Alex Golish, who's over at Auburn now, not at Arkansas. We were hoping for him, but, it worked out okay. And Coach Silverfield is here now. But anyway, we're going to head inside the ballroom here now at the Oaklawn Event Center. And it looks like we've got Holly Rowe visiting with the coaches still. And then we're about to hear soon from the 5 candidates who are going to speak to the assembled crowd here at Oaklawn in the Event Center.
Hi. Hello, my darling. Coach Pittman, we go way back. And when I say way back, I've probably known you for close to 30 years. And we've talked a lot of offensive line. I'm so proud of you. You're one of the few. Did I go? Oh, here I am. That was not a coordinator, but a position coach to be a finalist. How do you feel like your legacy, particularly with offensive line play, which we know is the most important thing, how do you feel like your legacy lives on?
Well, I mean, I got my opportunity here, and I'm blessed for that, The offensive line is so important. Both sides of the line are so important. But I've always enjoyed you. I mean, we go a long, long way back. Well, not you, because you were just a baby, and I was older, but. That can lead your program. And there's a lot of guys out there. I obviously had my opportunity here at the University of Arkansas.
And Coach, I got to cover one of your biggest wins here just a few years ago. And I remember the fans storming the field, and we were out on the field, and just to be able to share that moment with you, because assistant coaches put in the hard work. There's an old joke. You always want to marry an assistant coach because no matter how hard it gets, he's always had it worse. You have good. Thank you. I need a bigger laugh for that. That's funny. Come on. But the other thing I wanted to remind you of is that you were the great architect of one of the best Georgia offensive lines. You recruited those kids, built that up until they could sustain it and win national championships. How do you look at your time there and what was important with that?
Oh, I loved every second of it. Gave me an opportunity to see things that I hadn't before, like, the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl and the national championship opportunity to go there. I had never experienced that before. And Kirby is a great coach and gave me an opportunity to go over there. And then because of that, I was opportunity to be the head coach at Arkansas. So really enjoyed that. But, it's just like all these guys here. I'm indebted to Kirby because of what he was able to do for my career.
Well, you are one of the classiest guys I've ever known, and I love you so much. Just one of the great people in this business, and I salute you and I honor you, Coach. Thank you.
A lot of our former finalists and winners wanted to be here. I'll be honest with you, when I started calling back to some of the guys in the 90s, I'm not joking. David loved to be there, but I'm having a hip replacement surgery, and I am not joking. There were like 3 of them. Mark Mangino, Bud Foster, all of them. So someone could be here. We're so thankful for those who showed up today. But let's take a look at the screen right here and see some of some national media members and some of our former winners and finalists. They wanted to share their thoughts about the Broyles Award.
The Broyles Award, what a special award. As a young coach starting in this profession back in the year 2000, there were so many Broyles Award winners that I looked up to, so many in my career that I wanted to emulate. And I had lifelong goals of being a defensive coordinator in the SEC and trying to be the best defensive coordinator in the country. And you can't do those things without going through the Broyles Award and being a finalist or winning that award. It's meant a ton to me in my career.
I want to take this chance to say congratulations to every single person involved with the Broyles Award on its 30th anniversary. What an amazing accomplishment for so many people that have become very special to me and my family. One of the absolute highlights of my career, one of the most special moments, was getting the opportunity to meet Coach Broyles growing up as a young person in the state of Texas in the South that loved football and read about all the old rivalries and all the great coaches and players. Got to being there with him in that moment. Even now, looking back on some of the pictures, it's still a little surreal to me. I know Coach Broyles obviously, valued so much the job of the assistant coach in football.
I want to say congratulations and thank you to the Frank Broyles Award. You've had 30 years of success. I know coaching in college at University of Miami, Oklahoma State, and in professional football with the Dallas Cowboys and the Miami Dolphins. My success was because of my great assistant coaches. So congratulations again, and good luck to the nominees. You've had a great year.
Well, congratulations on 30 years to the Broyles Award. As a past winner myself, knowing the value that assistant coaches have in any football organization is critical to the success of that organization and that football program. And I'd just like to congratulate all the finalists this year and to another 30 years of success with the Broyles Award.
Coach Mac Brown here. It is hard to believe this is the 30th year of the Coach Frank Broyles Award, honoring the best assistant coaches in the world. He got it. He knew it. That's why he won so many games and changed so many lives because Coach Broyles was the best. Not a head coach in the world, including me, that couldn't do it without these great assistants. Congratulations. What a 30-year run. Many more to come.
Happy 30th anniversary to the Broyles Award. I am honored to be a voter for this distinguished award. And I think it's important to recognize the top assistant in the country because these guys don't always get the recognition that they deserve, but obviously play an integral role in their team's success throughout the season. And they're almost always on an upward trajectory in their career towards achieving that ultimate dream of becoming a head coach.
Hi, it's Morgan Scally, head coach at the University of Utah. I was a finalist for the Broyles Award in 2019, and while I didn't take home the award itself, I did take home an eye-opening education into the life of one of the greatest coaches to ever do it, Frank Broyles. We still cherish those connections today. In fact, Dan Lanning and I continue to laugh at the fact that we knew we had no shot versus Joe Brady from LSU. So with that, I'm extremely grateful to the Broyles family, Broyles Foundation, for even including us in on such an amazing award event. And to this year's winner, congratulations. What an honor.
Hi, everyone. Tonight marks the 30th anniversary of the Broyles Award, and I'm incredibly honored to be one of the past recipients. This award has always represented the very best of college football: hard work, loyalty, excellence behind the scenes. Being recognized alongside so many great coaches who've shaped players, programs, and lives means more to me than I can put into words. The Broyles Award celebrates the impact assistants have on this game, and I'm proud to forever be a part of that legacy.
Barry Switzer here. I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to be a part of the 30th Frank Broyles Assistant Coach Award. I never got it, but anyway, I got to coach for him for 6 years. I learned my game from him and his staff. The people around me have always been my great mentors and teachers, and I've always tried to surround myself with people better than me, and that was the key to my success, not only having great athletes, but great coaches.
Hey everybody, Gene Chiswick here, recipient of the 2004 Broyles Award here. I can't thank the Broyles family enough, starting with Coach Broyles and all of the Broyles family who I've become really close with over the years. Actually had a chance to come back as one of the finalists in 2015 as well. But I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. But this was a life-changing award for me and for so many others.
Appreciate all of you guys there honoring Coach Broyles. He made a huge impression on my life and my coaching life. When I had a chance to go to Arkansas and coach there with Coach Broyles, I took the job without ever visiting.
This is Tony Elliott, head football coach, University of Virginia. To all of the past winners, I acknowledge you and salute you and tip my cap. And to all the future winners, man, I'm excited about your opportunity and just how much this award is going to change your life and change your perspective. And really for me, it was never was I seeking credit as an assistant coach, but to be able to receive your flowers while you can appreciate them is really, really special. And that's what the Broyles Award allows for.
It's a big year for the Broyles Award. The Broyles Award goes out to the top assistant coach in the country. Like this year, Mike Bobo's a finalist, Brian Haynes is a finalist, Corey Heatherman, Matt Patricia, Sheil Wood. So first, big congrats to the finalists. It's the 30th anniversary of the Broyles Award. I call it the premier event of Valentine's Week, maybe even above and beyond Valentine's Day itself.
Howdy y'all, Marty Smith here from ESPN. Quick acknowledgement to the Broyles Award, David and his whole group for how passionately they champion and highlight our assistant coaches throughout the entire college football landscape, and it's so important today. Head coaches today have to wear so many hats, genuinely have to be CEOs of these programs in order to excel at the highest level. What's that mean? It means game plan, scheme, strategy fall to the gentlemen that are being acknowledged tonight, and what an incredible group of men it is. Coach Bobo, Coach Haynes, Coach Heatherman, Coach Patricia, and Coach Wood, all of whom led their respective programs to the top of the sport, the college football playoff. An incredible group of men, incredible leaders of men. Gentlemen, I hope you enjoy the acknowledgement tonight. It's a great night. Enjoy yourselves, and congratulations.
Barry Switzer. Is he not one of a kind? Oh, my Lord. He probably would have won. Barry Switzer and Johnny Majors were on the same staff with Coach Broyles. Are you kidding me? Holy mackerel. Anyway, thanks to all the coaches who sent messages as well as the national media. One of the things we've done for 30 years is we always bring back our previous year's winner. We want to do that again this year, of course, 30 years. Al Golden won this award last year for his amazing job with Notre Dame. Took him to the national championship game. Had like 31 turnovers. It was amazing what he did. Became the defensive coordinator at Cincinnati. We got a chance to go up, present the trophy to him in front of his players. And one of the things I noticed about Al Golden, his players love playing for him, which is the greatest compliment that you could give. And it's great to have him and Kelly back here tonight. Please give it up for our 2024 winner, Al Golden, everybody.
Thank you, David. Oh, boy, it's great to be back here at Oaklawn, and thank you for the hospitality. I want to start by saying it's an honor for my wife, Kelly, and I to be here. So, Kelly, please stand up real quick. There she is. We're so proud as a family to be part of the Broyles legacy, and congratulations to all the finalists. Unbelievable job by all you guys this year. Just a stud group here. I want to share one thing before we move forward, and that is I received a bunch of compliments last year on my acceptance speech, and it dawned on me a couple of days later, it wasn't an acceptance speech because the speeches, or in this case, the Q&A this year, precede who wins the award. So what was it? It was a snapshot into who we are as coaches, the high school coaches, the coaches that we just met in the audience, the coaches that are here, what we stand for and what we represent on a daily basis. So I just want to put that in your ear before we do the Q&A so that you can understand better how these men up here change lives and why they matter, why this matters. It matters because we started today with God and country, which is really important. That's how we started this thing today, which is really important. It matters because they put family first. It matters because that they are great mentors and honor their mentors by how they teach and help players become the best version of themselves. This entire thing matters, and what you're going to hear from them today isn't really focused around stats or scheme, really. And scheme is important, but that's not what it's about. It's about how they move individuals to be the best that they can be on a daily basis, how they teach kids to persevere in a day when everybody outside in the community is telling them not to. These guys do it. And the last thing it does is, and you'll hear from these guys, is when you are in this position, just like Wilson Matthews, loyalty is paramount. Loyalty is paramount. Coach Broyles would be proud of this group. Coach Broyles would be proud of this group. I am honored to be back. I can't tell you how much it means to be a part of the Broyles legacy. And I thank you, and God bless everybody. And I can't wait to catch up with everybody after the event. Thank you.
All right, before we announce our finalists real quick, I'll tell one story. I tell it about every year because I'm getting ready to introduce the most important person, the most important people, rather, in the lives of our assistant coaches and finalists, and that is their significant others, the true heads of their household. I had to borrow money to do this award 30 years ago. I had no money. Coach Broyles said I couldn't call on anybody who was given to the Razorback Foundation, so I eliminated every company in Arkansas. So I knew I was in trouble pretty quick, so I had found a banker that actually was a big Ohio State fan. And if it hadn't been for him, there would not be a Broyles Award. He's no longer with us, and so he lent me money, and I had to keep borrowing it. So I ended up borrowing about $100,000, and my debt service for the Broyles Award was more than my mortgage on my house, but I knew it was worth it. That 30 years later, we could be here today honoring good men and honoring Coach Broyles. So it all worked out. But the great story, this was one of the great stories of Coach Broyles. We called the first finalist class in 1996. I called Mickey Andrews and said, Coach Andrews at Florida State. Coach, you're a finalist for the Broyles Award. Congratulations. We're going to fly you up from Tallahassee. It's going to be a great night. He said, oh, David, I'm so excited. Thank you so much. Hey, would you mind if I bring my wife? And I said, sure. I'm like, that's another $1,000. That's my budget just went to $2,000. So, okay. So I called the next finalist, and I don't know if it was Norm Chow or David. I can't remember who it was, but he called and did the same thing. David, do you mind can I bring my wife? I'm like, sure you can, Coach. Of course. So it happened the third time. So I thought, oh my Lord, my budget for travel back then, 1996, was going from $5,000 to $10,000. That was a lot of money. I called Coach Broyles panicking. Coach, I said, got a little bit of a problem. I said, all these finalists want to bring their wives. And the brilliance of Coach Broyles, I'll never forget this phone call. In that Georgia draw, he said, oh, David. He said, that's a great sign because you know, David, if they want to bring their wife, that means it means something to them. And he was so right. And so for 30 years, the most important thing for those who can, bringing their significant other here to honor them because of what they've sacrificed for y'all's career has been the one. And Coach Broyles knew that 30 years ago. So that was outstanding. One of my favorite stories about Coach Broyles. So if we could, real quick, would you please stand up? I don't know where they're at. Laney Bobo, Bernadette Wood, Julie Heatherman, Kira Williams, please stand up. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you, ladies. Raina Patricia could not be here. I know, Matt, she's dealing with a lot right now, but I know she would be here, and I know they may say something in a second, but ladies, you know, you're the backbone. You are the stars behind the scenes, and thank you for being here. All right, at this time, we want to bring up a guy who's become an Arkansan. He's been doing this for, I think, 14 years, I think. One of the greatest offensive linemen in college football history, a unanimous All-American, Outland Trophy winner for the Pitt Panthers, and Jackie Sherrill, who was also our Broyles assistant coach, winner of 2 Super Bowls under Joe Gibbs, another connection with Coach Broyles, and great to have him back again. There's not a more loyal person than this guy behind us, and one of the greatest football players of all time who were introduced to our finalists. Let's give it up for Mark May, everybody.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure and an honor to come back to the great state of Arkansas. I consider this my second home, although I live in Arizona. And the reason why I come back is because of this award and because of the people of this state. What this award means to me is what Coach Broyles has been able to do over years is to honor those assistant coaches, but the foundation means just as much or more to helping people in need. And that's what's really important. And with that being said, let's get to the coaches. Our first coach is 3-time Broyles Award nominee and first-time finalist, Texas Tech defensive coordinator, Sheil Wood. Wherever this young man goes to coach, they find a way to take the ball away. 4 out of his last 5 years, they've created and taken away the turnovers 24 times or more in 4 out of those 5 years. The reason why is because they're smart, they're efficient, they get to the football. So with that being said, let's get to the videotape.
Sheil Wood, defensive coordinator, Texas Tech. Sheil Wood is his name. Producing elite defenses, that's his game. This is a team game! A team game! The team! Forward! Back in 2021, he was calling the shots for Army's defense, and the Cadets ended up in the top 15 unit. 2022 at Troy, top 10 defensive turnovers game and scoring defense. 2023, Tulane's Green Wave Runners Giants. His defense ranked 3rd in the nation in turnovers. In 2024, he took that Houston defense that ranked 105th and transformed into a top 25 unit. In this past season at Texas Tech, he inherited the Red Raider defense ranked 126th in total defense and turned it into one of the country's very best. They finished 3rd in the nation both scoring and total defense, and no team forced more turnovers than Sheil Wood's Red Raiders. It all started 20 years ago in South Carolina as a high school assistant. Tonight, we honor Sheil Wood of Texas Tech as a Broyles Award finalist, a coach whose defenses just don't compete, they dominate.
This is very exciting to have you here. Your defense was one of the greatest stories in college football this year. But I want to start with you because we have a weird theme amongst our finalists this year. You all were offensive players for the most part. So you started your career, you were a leading receiver on a SoCon championship team in college. Why defense all of a sudden?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that video makes me look like I yell all the time, and I don't. Secondly, I'd like to acknowledge my wife, Bernadette. Thanks for being here and all the support that you give me. And then thirdly, gosh, you do great research to dig up that stuff. So, I played receiver in college. I was a wide receiver at Wofford College, small Division I FCS program in South Carolina. We were an option team, so I was just like I played the same position Mark did. I just lined up outside the tackle box, so I blocked all the time as a receiver. But played the position and then started my coaching career coaching wide receivers. Got the opportunity to move over to the defensive side of the ball. My head coach, Mike Ayers, gave me that opportunity, and haven't looked back. It's been tremendous for my career.
One of the things you talked about your wife, and I'm fascinated by this because this is a grueling profession and you guys are grinding all the time, particularly assistant coaches. And you were kind of ascending in college football, doing a great job, and you had your first daughter and you took time off to be the stay-home dad while your wife did her medical residency. I've literally never heard of this career path. One, why did you feel like that was important for your family? And two, how did you have the faith that you would be able to get back in your dream job when the time was right?
Well, my wife, Bernadette, is a physician, board certified in internal medicine and pediatrics, phenomenal student in college and med school. We're going through, her med school. We're married at the time. I'm coaching at Wofford College. I'm in my 5th and 6th season of college football coaching. We're getting ready to have our first daughter, Faye, who was born on March 13th, 2013. And she was going to finish her med school that May and match for residency. And anybody knows about medical residency, is extremely demanding time and training. And we work crazy schedules as college coaches and lots of hours, but I think it kind of pales in comparison, especially to the first year or two of residency. So we're sitting there, we're getting, there's no playbook for being first-time parents, and we're sitting there, we're like, how the heck are we going to make this work? So ultimately, we just decided that it was just the right decision for me to kind of take a step back, allow her to finish her training. We ended up being very blessed. Our daughter, Faye, who's 12, is doing great, but at that time, we ended up having some things from a developmental standpoint where, me being at home was just, it was a godsend for us. So took that time off, helped support Bernadette and her training, and then lo and behold, I knew I wanted to get back into coaching. I didn't know what that would look like, what shape it would take, but my head coach, Mike Ayers, that I'd played for at Wofford, coached for at Wofford, gave me the opportunity to step back into the same role, actually, that I left, opened back up. So that was kind of wild. And it was about the time where Bernadette was finishing her residency training, stepped back into that role, and we haven't looked back. And, I've been blessed now that she has supported me, as a great professional in her own right and been there to support me. And we're just excited to be at Texas Tech.
Okay, your ascension is wild. So you come back in 2016, Georgia Tech, Georgia State, Army, Troy, Tulane. You have been rising fast in this profession. Why do you think that is? What is something that you're great at that is allowing you to succeed?
I don't know that I'm great at anything. I love the game. I love to compete. I love to work hard. I've been blessed to be around some really outstanding football coaches, some mentors of mine. Mike Ayers, I mentioned him several times, was my college coach, and then allowed me to coach for him for 8 years. I got a tremendous education as an early coach in my career, working under him for 30 years. He was the head coach of Wofford College. He's in about 5 Hall of Fames. Just a tremendous leader, a motivator, and teacher of young people. Nate Woody's a guy that I kind of came up under from a defensive standpoint. He's just recently taken the defense coordinator job at the University of Cincinnati in the Big 12. But and a lot of others, but I think maybe the thing that I did was realize that I needed to latch on to some guys that I saw early on in my career that were really good at what they did, and try to just be a sponge and learn as much as I could from them. And, fortunately for me, that's allowed for us to have a little bit of a wild ride in terms of moving around, but it's been for great opportunities, and the opportunity to work for Joe McGuire at Texas Tech has been tremendous, and excited for this next season coming up as well.
I'm glad you brought him up, because it's not usual that all the time that your head coach is here where you get to be the finalist. So with him sitting right there, we were at your place this year. We got to do your big game against BYU where you guys really dominated that. I still feel bad for Bear Bachmeyer. That was a bad game for him. There's something special in your building, and you can feel it, and there's a good feeling there. What is Coach McGuire building that you're helping with that you think is really special?
Well, my wife and I are so ecstatic every day that we're a part of this program with Coach McGuire at the helm. And I just know this. And again, I'll go back to the man that I played for as a college football player and got a chance to coach for, Mike Ayers. I knew at an early age how special he was and the opportunity to learn and train under him. There's a lot of really great football coaches across the country. I think Joe McGuire is one of the absolute best. And the thing that makes him so special in my estimation is just he is so sincere, so genuine. He's extremely energetic, extremely positive. And what he does is he creates a tremendous working environment for our staff and for our players, to where when you come in the building, when you wake up, my feet hit the floor in the morning, I cannot wait to go into that building and get a chance to interact with my boss, Coach McGuire, to get a chance to interact with our staff, our players. And he just makes it such a welcoming environment. And that's not like that every place. And I think that's a huge part of our success, because our players know the love that he has for them. And it just bleeds into our staff. And what it ultimately translates to, I believe, and the reason that we had the success we had, is it becomes a situation where it's the continuity, the culture, the love in the program. It turns into a player-led program out of the locker room, and those are the best programs to be a part of.
I love it. Our time's almost out. Just quickly, I wanted to ask you, I was just wondering if you and Bryant Haynes over there, if anybody turned over the dinner plate or something, because you guys created so many turnovers this year. Come on, that was funny. Give me, come on. I need more energy back. Thank you.
Let's go.
That was funny.
Let's go.
I saw him steal that steak off your plate. Come on. No, you get to the ball. How do you guys take the ball away? What is the key? I know Jacob Rodriguez is a huge key of that. He was on my Heisman ballot. What else is it that's making you guys special at that regard?
Well, Coach McGuire, when I stepped in, he's got our program is a take three program. That's our mantra. So we place a huge emphasis every day on taking the football away, training those fundamentals and techniques. And so, that's something that we try to develop in our guys, but we were very fortunate. Bottom line is, I'm sitting here today because we had a lot of great football players and great coaches on our team this past year. Jacob Rodriguez was one of them, and boy, howdy, did he know how to take that football away. I think that his ability to do that at such a high level also just kind of bled into the rest of our football team, and they were really hungry to run to that ball, number one, and then to attack it when they got there, and it was a lot of fun to be a part of.
Well, it was a lot of fun to watch your team play. It was joyful and devastating all at the same time. Shieldwood, everybody.
Our next finalist for the Broyles Award is Defensive Coordinator Matt Patricia from Ohio State. Talk about accepting a challenge. The Ohio State Buckeyes just came off a national championship. Their defense was one of the best in the nation, so the bar was set extremely high for the next defensive coordinator to come in to exceed and to meet that challenge. Matt Patricia, with his resume and what he's been able to do to quarterbacks schematically over the years in the NFL, now in college football, that's the reason why the Buckeyes had a great defense this year, is because of their defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia. Let's get to the videotape.
Defensive coordinator, Ohio State. Most people know Matt Patricia from his spectacular run to the New England Patriots. He was part of 3 Super Bowl championship teams. In only 9 seasons calling the defense, the Patriots ranked on the best in the league in fewest points allowed 8 different times. And in 2016, Patricia's defense led the entire NFL scoring defense and capped it off with a Super Bowl win. So the big question was this: how would that success translate to the college game? and for the elevated national championship defense. The answer came quickly. This season, Patricia's Ohio State defense became one of the most dominant units in college football history. The Buckeyes led the nation in total defense, passing defense, and scoring defense, allowing just 90.3 points per game, and holding 10 opponents to 10 points or fewer. Once considered one of the top defensive lines in the NFL, tonight Matt Patricia earns the highest honor a college assistant can receive. Ohio State defensive coordinator Matt Patricia is a Broyles Award finalist.
Well, congratulations. This is so fun. So you are the only coach here that I didn't get to cover this year. So forgive me if some of these are questions you've already answered. What is the pencil behind the ear? I'm just fascinated by this.
Yeah, that's a story. I get asked that question a lot.
Yeah.
The pencil actually started, I'm an engineer with my background, so used a lot of mechanical pencils, a lot of derivations and equations, and always kind of had a pencil on me. But when I got to New England with the Patriots, the way that we broke film, back then we would draw every single play, and we would draw all 22 guys, exactly all of their movements, the detail, how they, just handled the plays and the routes and all of it. So we would break a game, and a game would take anywhere between 10 to 12 hours to break for me to do in your meetings and your practices. So any moment you had, you were trying to get on there and draw a play and get a game broken down. So you always had, I was like a walking Staples. I mean, I had pencils and I had pens and I had erasers. You were just always drawing. So, you found out the number 2 pencil, a nice sharp point in there, you could really draw those fine lines and erase the mistakes and just, you always had it on you all the time. So kind of just tucked it up under the hat. It was probably the safest place for it to go. It's not real good to be carrying a sharp number 2 pencil around all the time. So that's where it started. And we just always drew, always drew the game. And so I've always carried one since.
I love that. Like, how better to learn plays and learn the game than actually having to envision it and create it on paper. You did have an engineering background. I find this fascinating. Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute is where you played, where you were obviously a center or guard. Like what is this with our defensive coordinators? We're all offensive guys. What was that experience like?
Yeah, school was really hard. I'm an aeronautical engineer, so there was a lot of late nights, a lot of studying and then practice and lifting and all the rest of it. So, it certainly taught me a lot about discipline. It taught me a lot about keeping a schedule and hard work and problem solving and a lot of things that I think really I carried with me into my coaching career. But, it was Division III football. So, you're out there every single day working for the love of the game. And it was just an unbelievable experience for me in college to, be on those teams and have that opportunity. I wasn't very good, but you're trying your best out there. So learned a lot.
I love it. You took a break from coaching and were an engineer with Hoffman Air and Filtration. And then you got a job offer to maintain nuclear submarines and aircraft carriers. So what made you go back to coaching football? And you had to take a massive pay cut, right?
Yeah, the engineering profession was pretty good. I played college football for 4 years. I stayed a 5th year, started my MBA, kind of was doing the engineering MBA. And that's really when I fell in love with coaching. I think at that moment, when you're done playing football, because, people tell you just can't play anymore, you really probably as a coach, I spent that next 6 months saying, well, I could still do that. I could still play. But I really remember the exact moment that, one of the offensive linemen that I was coaching was able to do something that we worked on all week long. And it was picking up one of the blitz schemes, and he did a great job, and we scored and we won the game. And just to see the joy on his face, that he worked so hard to accomplish something, and to see him do that and succeed, it was just like a light switch went off. And I was like, this is way better than playing. This is like the coolest thing I've ever seen, to watch him have success. So I got done with that first year, and my mom called and she said, look, you're not on scholarship anymore. You need to go work. So I did engineering for 2.5 years, and I loved it, but I missed the game. So I did have a great opportunity to go be a maintenance engineer for submarines, aircraft carriers, United States Navy. So I get the job. I'm driving home. My mom calls and she said, great, how'd it go? And I was like, great, I got the job, Mom. It's awesome. And she goes, oh my gosh, that's great. And I said, but one of my college coaches called. He's got a $5,000 a year defensive line job. And I think I'm going to take that instead. So it was a long pause, a lot of silence on the other end. And she's like, what are you doing? And I said, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to. And if you don't, if you're going to take a shot, believe in yourself, take a chance on yourself, follow through with it. And really, I'm one of those stories that you can do whatever you want. So I just wanted to get back to teaching and mentoring and being around young men between 18 and 22. And that was really my draw to coaching, was really college football. That's where I wanted to be.
So was mom still there when you won 2 Super Bowls, and what was her reaction then?
Yeah, she was on the flights with the tickets in the front row, and yeah, a lot of games, a lot of stuff. So it was fun.
Okay, I love that beyond words. You know, you had high success in the NFL. We know your background there. College is different, and you know, like I'm a college football girl, so I'm always like, but we're different here. What was different in your first year at Ohio State?
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State's a special place, and the fan base, and man, the shoe in that first game, that was unbelievable. I've been in some pretty big stages, but that was amazing. And for me to come back to college after about 25 years, it was just something that I really wanted to change. You know, I wanted to get back to that environment. I wanted to get back to teaching and mentoring and helping kids develop. And also, I have 3 kids. My wife is amazing. She's a rock star, and you know, the only reason I can do this, and with 3 kids, they had never seen the college atmosphere before. And game day for college football is unlike anything. And that was really special for me to be able to show my kids and watch my kids see that through their eyes. I grew up outside of Syracuse, New York, and it was all, you know, it was college sports, Big East football and Big East basketball back then. So to be able to share that with my family was really cool. And everybody asked me what the biggest difference is. And, you know, for me, it was just walking into that room and just being able to be around the kids and see that joy, that youthful energy and love for the game of football was just so invigorating to me. It just really brought me back to my roots of why I wanted to coach. And I just loved going in there and, you know, seeing their faces and watching them want to learn. And certainly, you know, a lot of those kids have aspirations to be at the next level. And that's something that I can, you know, give them that inside detailed picture of. So it was just an incredible experience.
Okay, before I let go, you guys, I think it was just over 9 points per game. In this era of offense, that's really freaking great, if I can say that. I don't remember that low of points per game since like the really boring Alabama LSU national championship. Remember that horrible game that we all suffered through? I think that year Alabama allowed like 8 point something points per game. How were you able to do that? Because the Big Ten offenses were good this year. You know, we saw what Indiana did.
Yeah, certainly. You know, I just really give credit to our players. You have to give credit to them first and foremost. We had 8 guys that had never really even played before for us. So walking into that challenge, and we knew we had great players, and just trying to figure out what do they do well and how do we put them in positions to be, you know, play fast and aggressive and make plays was really fun. And they gravitated to it. They bought in. They trusted me, which was amazing. And, you know, I just give them all the credit. And also, I think, you know, for me, my assistant coaches, those guys were tremendous. They just did so much hard work behind the scenes. And obviously, you know, I'm very honored, you know, to be here, but it's really about them. You know, the hours you spend in the film room and having discussions and conversations and arguments about what you're going to do and the players and the scheme. Those guys worked endlessly to just put us in those positions. So it's a special group. It's a special place. I was really blessed to be there. And, you know, it was a lot of fun.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, nuclear subs, college football. I don't know which is more dangerous, but I know which one you love the most. You've used the word joy many times, and it's wonderful to see you kind of living out your dream in something that you love so much. Thank you so much, Coach.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Our next finalist for the Broyles Award is defensive coordinator Corey Heatherman from Miami. This is a defense that created mayhem, and I love the name mayhem because it reminds me of my last name, which means they got to the quarterback, tackles for loss, fumbles, interceptions. Their 47 sacks were the most sacks that my Miami Hurricane team had since 2002. 6 of his players in his first year at Miami were named All ACC. Let's get to the videotape.
Corey Heatherman, defensive coordinator, Miami. Corey Heatherman didn't get here overnight. He spent 16 years coaching at every level of the game before finally getting his first shot in the FBS. There were a lot of stops along the way, including James Madison working under Kurt Signetti. He helped coach 3 top 10 defenses in the country. His first FBS opportunity in 2022, linebackers coaching Rikers. Just 2 years later, Minnesota trusted him with the keys to the defense, and he delivered. In 2024, the Golden Gophers ranked 5th nationally in total defense and 9th in scoring defense. Then came Miami, and the turnaround, remarkable. A defense that gave up 30 or more points 5 times the year before Heatherman arrived, never allowed more than 27 points a game this season. By the end of the year, Miami finished top 5 in the nation in scoring defense and rushing defense. A coach once considered one of the brightest defensive minds in FCS football is now part of a very exclusive group. Please welcome Broyles Award finalist Corey Heatherman, defensive coordinator at Miami.
Okay, so we have another quarterback, obviously, as a defensive coordinator. Tell me about Fitchburg State. You had kind of an interesting journey where somebody told you that you should change sides of the ball. How did this come about?
Yeah, so at my first year of coaching, I worked with quarterbacks, wide receivers, moved to running backs in spring, and it was comfortable. It was what I knew. It was a little bit easier. Didn't have to work as hard maybe at understanding the details of everything. Just went back to how I did it or how I was taught to do it. After that year, had an opportunity for a GA job. Didn't get the opportunity and went back and learned defense. And, it was kind of recommended to get back on the offensive side of the football. And however many years later now, I'm still on defense.
Yeah.
My first year, though, I went to Springfield College. It was a small Division III school in Western Mass. And we had a full-time professor / football coach on offense, full-time football coach professor on defense, and then the head coach. Everyone else was a GA. There were 9 GAs, and we had to work together, drawing the cards, breaking down the film, going through everything. And I was the worst coach. Just like you go in motion, I had no idea what to do. Call a timeout. You shifted, how to tackle, how to, defeat a block. There was a lot of things I had never done as a player. So it taught me a lot, but, it was the best experience for me as a football coach. And, I've been blessed to be on that side of the ball now since.
All of you guys have paid your dues in such really unique ways, but your resume I'm just fascinated by, because what in the heck were the Wurzburg Panthers? Where were you coaching with the Wurzburg Panthers?
So I had an opportunity in my senior year of college. I was student teaching at Leominster High School, and I had an opportunity to go play in Austria and kind of drop out of college, which, probably wasn't the best decision, but had an opportunity to drop out of college and go play over there. And after my first game, we were playing the Graz Giants, which I learned Arnold Schwarzenegger was from there.
Yeah, for sure.
And I learned after the first game, we no longer had a head football coach. And at that point, the coach that was there was like, listen, you guys run the offense, we'll run the defense, and we'll be good. And I don't know if we were really good, but it was an awesome experience. And then my second year, I had an opportunity to stay in Europe, and I went to Würzburg, which I heard was Dirk Nowitzki's hometown, which was kind of a cool experience to be a part of. But, I had a chance to play there, and I was the only American on that team. The year before, there were 5 of us. And like David Paluca, the former strength coach of the Dolphins, was one of the guys over with us. We had a lot of, it was a really cool, neat experience. Carter Conley, the defensive coordinator at Center College, was there playing with me. My second year, went over with Würzburg and had a chance to play. And after that was kind of the decision to go all in with coaching and kind of hanging up.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'd like to have known that phone call. Hey, Mom, I'm dropping out of college to go to Europe for football. That would have been an interesting call. Okay, let's talk a little bit about your team this year. They mentioned you came up from JMU. You've also had a meteoric rise. JMU in 2019, then Rutgers, Minnesota, and now Miami. This Miami defense, I was obsessed with them this year. You guys had such a high level of buy-in. You're new there. They don't know that much about you, and those players loved you. How did you get that buy-in from them so quickly?
I think the number one thing that we wanted to accomplish, in like our first 30 days was the players. We wanted the players to want to play for one another. They wanted to believe in what we were doing. We wanted to speak the same language. And that's kind of what, that first January going into February when we got off the road was, okay, this is how we're going to do things. And it had nothing to do with X's and O's. It was, you wanted to play for the guy next to you. And it was winter workouts, or it was in meetings, or it was, the confidence in their voice when they answered questions, is how we finished drills. And then, the confidence that when we went over, whatever the techniques or the fundamentals, and guys started picking each other up. And that's where you started seeing, okay, now this means the D-line's going to play with the linebackers. The linebackers are going to play with the DBs. And we're all in this thing together. And it became more player-led. And I think, that's where it started. And then it was never, it was always about just how hard we played. We wanted to be the fastest team the way we swarmed. We wanted to be the most violent team the way that we struck, off the line of scrimmage. And our guys bought into that. And I think, that was the number one thing we wanted to see when you turned on the tape against Notre Dame. This is what shows up, and that's what showed up.
It did show up. I was obsessed with your two defensive ends, as I'm sure a lot of people were. But Ruben Bain, to me, is maybe one of my favorite defensive players I've ever seen because he drove that thing. Like, we were at one of your practices in Scottsdale for the Fiesta Bowl, and, it's like practice 100 of the season or whatever, and he's running from field to field, and he's the first guy from there to there. Like, how did you breed that kind of culture of want to and pride in wanting to?
Yeah, I think, Coach Cristobal, the strength staff, everyone involved, that's the way that Bain was wired. And, when you take a job, it's okay, here's one of your best players. He's been very successful. How is he going to practice? How is he going to compete? And we always had like the violence clip of the day, the swarm clip of the day, and the ball clip of the day. And anytime I struggled to find it, I just watched him. And you'd find it in the first play. Like, he ran to the ball like he was just trying to make the team. He just wanted to get on the bus. He came off the ball in practice, whether it was a scout team rep, it was a good-on-good rep, it was the 35th rep of practice that day, and August 10th. He played as hard as he possibly could every single time. That's why he is the player he is. But that's what made it so easy for everyone else to follow. Hey, here's one of our best players. Here's going to be a high draft pick, and then, he just did it every single day over and over. And that, that helped lead our guys for exactly what we wanted to be.
Yeah, it was beautiful to watch. And you fostered that culture and that energy. Before we let you get out of here, there's kind of a really weird and unique thing. And since you're the first guy up, you get to talk the most trash. So you are like besties with one of our finalists here tonight. And you guys ended up coaching, not necessarily against each other because you're both defensive coordinators, but for the national championship. What is it like to be a finalist for the Broyles Award with one of your best friends in the business, Coach Haynes from Indiana?
I think
you can talk trash too. It's like you can smoke him.
I think the biggest thing and the best thing in our profession is relationships. The relationships with the coaches, the relationships with the players. The number one thing I fumbled tonight is, I got to thank my wife, Julie.
We were getting there. I wasn't going to let him get out of here, Julie. Trust me, your name is written right here.
But, like everything that she allows me to do to, spend extra time in the office, spend extra time with the staff, spend extra time with the players. But, we were together for 3 years at JMU and, just the relationship that we built there. And it was one thing I'm very big on. And the only reason why I'm sitting here right now is my staff. I didn't invent anything. I don't do anything crazy different than anyone else. I have great people around me. And, that's one of the things when we were at JMU, we had great people, and obviously they've gone to Indiana and, been there, but, I didn't really want to deal with that weather and all the other things that they got to deal with up there. So, but,
national champions and stuff, that's such a pain. Yeah.
But, working with him for 3 years, the amount of football, I helped that I learned from him and, everyone else that was on that staff and to be a part of that. And then, at that point, us hanging around, like my wife, him, our families, just growing together in the game. And, we still all the time, hey, what are you doing here? Why are you doing this? And, he gives up a touchdown. I'll text him, hey, what call was this? Or are they going to play this year with 10 guys on the field? And I'm like, what defense is this?
And you still vacation together, right? Didn't you guys vacation together before the season started?
I think he stopped through Miami on a little quick trip this summer. So we got to see him one more time.
All right. Give me one embarrassing story about him that is fit for a ballroom full of hundreds of people.
I can't go that much into a lot of them. I mean, we got a million stories on him. I just think the biggest thing for him is I'm a high school quarterback, basketball, baseball. I believe he was a wrestler at one point, big linebacker. He still will not fight me. I mean, that's the one thing. It's something with his back. He taps out every time. He just can't have it.
All right, 10 o'clock in the bar. Let's get this. The Broyles Throwdown. Let's go. Year one.
I'm ready. I'll be there.
Thank you so much, and congratulations. You were brilliant all year, and I appreciate you. You were just absolutely brilliant, and we thank you.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Our next finalist for the Broyles Award is defensive coordinator Brian Haynes from Indiana. He's been nominated for the last 5 seasons, but 2 consecutive seasons he's been a finalist. If you look at his defense, they get to the quarterback early and often. That's their model. They have 44 sacks this year. That set an Indiana record. But what's most important, they're really efficient. Very smart defense. They had the 8th fewest penalties in the FBS. So let's get to the videotape.
Brian Haynes, defensive coordinator, Indiana. Brian Haynes made 4
stops in his coaching career before one move changed everything. Back in 2014, Curt Cignetti brought him to Indiana University of Pennsylvania as the defensive line coach, and the partnership unstoppable from there. Since 2022, Haynes has been the guy behind some of the nation's most fearsome defenses. In 2023, his James Madison defense allowed only 61 yards rushing a game, best in the country, and led the nation with 9 tackles for loss per game. At Indiana, his 2 seasons have been nothing short of spectacular. Last year, they led the nation in rushing defense and ranked 2nd in total defense. This season, his national championship defense ranks 2nd in scoring defense, just 11 points per game, 4th in total defense, and made game-changing plays all over the field, ranking 3rd in turnovers forced and tackles for loss. Get ready. He'll throw the kitchen sink at every offense he faces. Broyles Award finalist, Indiana defensive coordinator, Brian Haynes.
Well, Coach Haynes, you were one of our few finalists that actually played defense, played linebacker at Ball State. This journey that you have been on, you've been at some interesting places too, not as dramatic as Wurzburg, but your first job was the defensive line coach at Manchester. Where is Manchester?
It's just outside of Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah, hard to find.
So you've been kind of an Indiana guy for most of your career because you really connected with Cignetti at IUP. Tell me what that impact was in your life of kind of getting with a coach who really believed in and empowers his assistants.
Yeah, that's really where my career started to take off is getting with Coach Cignetti. And how that came to be is actually my brother, who's here right there at table 11, was his offensive coordinator at IUP over in Pennsylvania, which is why I write Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which makes no sense, but
I literally did not know
it's
that.
all good.
Okay.
So my brother introduced me to Coach Cignetti, and once I got hired with him and saw how he operated, I could tell that he was going to do really well in profession. He'd already come from the Nick Saban tree, was recruiting coordinator at Alabama, wide receiver coach, but it was his day-to-day preparation, his organizational ability. I knew he was going places. I didn't know he was going to go to Indiana and win a national championship in year 2. I just knew he was a really good football coach, and I've just learned so much from him along the way.
You know, one thing that I thought made this Indiana team really special this year and why you're a finalist again is this defense, no 5 stars. And your best players on defense were kids that came with you from James Madison. So, you have Tyreek Tucker, you have, oh my gosh, your linebacker who I love, Aiden Fisher. Mm. And you have these guys that nobody really recruited highly or really wanted. And here they are winning a national championship, anticipating every play. What was it about you as a coach that got more from these guys than anyone could have dreamed of?
Well, I don't want to sell those guys short because we say they're not 5 stars, but I don't know what that means. All I know is that those guys were tough as nails kids, really good high school football players, extremely competitive, highly motivated to be the best version of themselves that they could be. And to me, that's the mental makeup that you need to be a 5-star player. So you can put whatever number of stars you want on them. I thought I had a great group of guys at James Madison on defense. Thankfully, a lot of them came over from JMU to Indiana. D'Angelo Pons is another one that I bring up. And then a year ago, James Carpenter. I could keep going, but stars only mean so much in our system. I believe in the human being beneath that helmet.
Yeah, but you brought the best out in them. Like I was at your practices, you had some really interesting practices at the Rose Bowl and then again at the national championship where you would spend, I swear to God, half the practice on trash cans. And I kept asking the kids, well, what are these trash cans for? And they were like, if we come off the ball, I have to touch the trash can because that's my assignment. And I have to physically and mentally know this is my assignment. But I don't know if that's real. I want you to tell me about the trash cans.
That is real. That is real. I actually started at Manchester College there outside of Fort Wayne as a defensive line coach. I'm a big fan of front seven football play. And the trash can is your physical key. So your hands need to snap to the correct person that we would identify as who could be coming to block us. But on a larger scale, in order to teach block destruction effectively, I mean, start by beating a trash can. We'll work our way up to beating an offensive lineman.
Yeah, no, you literally would spend more time on the trash cans at practice for the national championship game. It was fascinating to me. I love that because it is a physical and mental reminder of this is my assignment. This is my assignment.
Yeah, well, I'm such a big believer, and this is, I bet all the high school coaches would believe this too. Details matter. You know, coaching the small things matter. A lot of football games aren't won; they're simply lost because the technique isn't there, the fundamentals aren't there. So we will coach the fine details. We'll coach the small things. We'll coach them to the nth degree because they add up to create the big things.
I know that you've had to kind of navigate having a new baby during the season. Is this your little one in the papoose right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kira,
I was wondering who our youngest Broyles Award attendee was.
Yeah, Kira, if you wouldn't mind standing up, because Gracie Bear's a little bit sleepy right now, but that's my daughter Gracie Bear right there, 7 months old. She's been at every game. She's 16-0, and it hasn't.
She is 16-0. I love that.
Never tasted defeat. But what's made it easier for me is how great Kira's been. I mean, obviously, our profession's hard. Having young ones, we're not home much. Our partner sacrificed for us, and I'm so grateful to have a partner that believes in me and is willing to follow me and take care of that beautiful baby girl back home.
Oh, thank you so much. She's never tasted defeat. That is my favorite thing we've heard here. That is so cute. Okay, I did not find many like funny, embarrassing stories about you. Anything? Oh, I did want to ask you this. Okay, in the national championship, twice in the fourth quarter, Coach Signetti goes for it on fourth down in Miami territory. And we're all like, what the heck is about to happen? I was dying to know what you as the defensive coordinator are thinking, because if that doesn't work, you guys are in peril coming out, on the changeover. So what were you thinking?
Yeah, I usually have a lot of belief and faith in Coach Signetti when he makes a decision like that. Granted, those were critical moments, and it could have gone either way, right? That can make or break a game or a moment. But it was our offense on the field going against a Coach Heatherman defense, and I felt great about it.
This throwdown in the bar is going to be good. Andy's got his brother here. This could get epic, just so you know. You're joking, but you guys do have a beautiful relationship. This is a hard profession, and to have guys that you can lean on who are living the life you are and going through the stress you are, what has it been like to have him as a friend and someone that can be there as a confidant for you?
Yeah, it's been unbelievable. I mean, I tease him, but he's a fantastic football coach. He's a great man off the field too, and I learned so much from him along the way. He was great to work for. I think this is a great message to any coach, young or old. Be willing to collaborate. Be willing to listen. Whatever your role is. If a GA speaks up in my room, I need to hit pause and listen. What does he have to say? Coach Heatherman always did that for us. That's why his staff loves him so much. That's why his players love him so much. He'll listen to them, and he'll take into account what they're saying, implement it, and be highly effective in doing it.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. Incredible year. It was a blast to be around that team. They were truly, truly special, and you did a great job. Thank you so much, Coach Brian Haynes.
Thank you.
Our fifth finalist is an offensive coordinator from Georgia, Mike Bobo. After losing 4 out of his 5 starting offensive linemen to the NFL, replacing basically his entire offensive line, his offense averaged over 32 points a game. His quarterback, Gunnar Stockton, was a finalist for the Manning Award and the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award. He got Georgia back into the playoffs with their offense. They scored 34 points in their loss, unfortunately, in the playoff. But that was because their offense was tough and it was led by a great offensive lineman and a great offensive coordinator, Mike Bobo. Let's go to the videotape.
Coordinator, Georgia. This former Georgia quarterback has been on fire since returning to the Bulldog staff 4 years ago. In 2022, he helped win a national championship. The next year, as offensive coordinator, his offense ranked 5th in the nation in total yards and scoring. 2024, more of the same. 12th in passing offense and 30-plus points in 9 games. This past season, Georgia ran one of the most efficient offenses in the country. They were 5th in the number of first downs and ranked 3rd on 4th down conversions. And quarterback Gunnar Stockton, in his first year starting, was top 25 in completion percentage, efficiency, and passing touchdowns. A Georgia native, a 3-time Broyles Award finalist, and one of the game's top offensive minds. Give it up for Mike Bobo, Broyles Award finalist.
Well, Coach Bobo, I was trying to think if this is a good joke or not, but I'm going to call you the Meryl Streep of the Broyles Award. You're good enough, you get nominated every year, which I think is quite a compliment. You have such a great story. I first met you when you had just finished playing. And what was your first job with Coach Donnan? I remember meeting you with Coach Jim Donnan, but you had just finished playing like maybe a year or two before.
Yeah, right after finishing playing, 97 was my last year. Thought I was going to go to the NFL, sat there. Nobody called all weekend. Ended up saying, I need to get in coaching. Coach Donnan said, we got a job for you. And I worked on defense the first year with Joe Kynes on defensive side of football as a GA.
Oh my gosh, Joe Kynes is a legend. That's
He is
awesome.
a legend.
I did not know you got to do that with him. I love him so much. So you played quarterback, coached defense a little bit, but then you now celebrate over 20 years, 2007 promoted to offensive coordinator at Georgia. What was that journey like to go from kind of star quarterback, beloved guy, Georgia kid to now be the offensive coordinator at Georgia?
I've been blessed, blessed to be in this profession, blessed to be raised by a high school coach. My dad, George Bobo, was a high school coach. The men that influenced me in this journey were high school coaches, and all I ever wanted to do was be a high school coach. And then having to play at the University of Georgia, having that opportunity, got my foot in the door in college coaching, and I was blessed to be a GA, and then went to Jacksonville State in Alabama, and Mark Richt gets the job at the University of Georgia, and he's looking for a young coach to basically be his GA. And it helped that my dad was a high school coach in the state of Georgia, got my foot in the door there at the University of Georgia, and to have him let me grow, let me learn there at the University of Georgia, and to turn the reins over to me in 2007 and go through ups and downs. I can't say enough about him. Coach Rick, Coach Don, and the men in my life, they've given me an opportunity and blessed. And, that's what coaching is about. We're trying to affect players, but we're also coaches. We're trying to help these young coaches grow and get to where they want to go.
One of my favorite stories I did on television this year was this really crazy full circle moment for your family, because Gunnar Stockton is your quarterback, and he's so great and so tough. I freaking love that kid. I'm sorry.
Tough.
I'm gonna quit swearing eventually, but he is so tough. I love him. But his quarterback coach, since he was about 6 years old, was your dad. And now here you are calling plays for that kid. What is that like to have this kind of full circle family moment?
It's kind of surreal. My dad was my high school coach, and I go to the University of Georgia. He ends up retiring from being a head coach in a town in South Georgia, Thomasville, and goes and works for a guy up in Rabun County, Sonny Smart, Kirby Smart's dad. And in that town was a young Gunnar Stockton, who was a little kid and would come around the field house of Rabun County and grew up and wanted to be a quarterback. And my dad was there and, kind of took him under his wing and kind of helped train him early on. My dad does not deserve all the credit or doesn't want all the credit. Gunnar is who he is because he's an unbelievable family, how he works, he's toughness, he's selfless, he's humble, just a joy to coach.
But Gunnar was better when his center that started most of the games was in.
He's a hell of a player.
And that center at Georgia this year was Drew Bobo your son?
Yes.
Like this whole layered story was just one of my favorite things.
Well, first of all, I got to thank his mother, Lainey Bobo. Drew is the oldest of 5. She has raised Drew, who plays center for us. We've got triplets, 2 girls and a son, Jake, who's now on the team. So I have both of my sons are on the team. And then my youngest daughter is coming to University of Georgia next year, Kate. And, she raised 5 children, really 6. She raised me. True coach of the household, my wife, Lainey. But we're so proud of Drew. Drew was which most linemen are, but he was not as Coach was talking about, he wasn't a 4 or 5 star. He was a developmental guy coming out of high school. And, I wanted him to go to a program. I wasn't at the University of Georgia at the time, but go to a program where there was going to be a standard and accountability. And that's what Kirby Smart is about. And have an opportunity for him to go to the University of Georgia and play for Kirby Smart, Lainey and I both graduated from the University of Georgia. To be in that program, we knew he was going to grow. And then fortunately, I got on the staff and have a chance to coach him. But we're so proud of how hard he worked, how he represents the University of Georgia and represents our family name.
Well, no offense to his backup, but he knew the offense so well, as he should, because you're his dad, that like when he went down with a foot injury and was out the last couple of games, I noticed, and it was big, and Gunnar wasn't as comfortable. So I just wanted to give you and your son and your whole family, from dad to grandpa to son to, it's just been really cool to watch this year. Before we let you get out here, you just kind of glossed over it, but triplets, hello, a mother, a coach's wife with triplets. You had 5 children under the age of like 10 at one point, right?
What was it? 504.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
5 under 4 at the same time. So if anybody deserves an award tonight, it is Lainey Bobo. I need to give it up for her. I remember talking to you in meetings during this time and just thinking like, this has got to be chaos at home. And here you are trying to call plays. And
It's we think we have a tough job, but what these women do and all these coaches managing our households and, have 5 children under the age of 4, she doesn't flinch. And I love her for it. I know our kids love her for it too. Thank you.
All right. Well, we are out of time, but I wanted to say before you get out of here, you have coached so many great players. Matthew Stafford, tutelage under him, who has had an incredible year in the NFL. He got his start with you. I know he's super talented, but you really brought out the best in him. You have been such a long time, wonderful coach. And I just want you to know people appreciate you, and we see it. Your offensive line had more starting combinations this year. Your right tackle and right guard were switching out every other play. Like, people who know what a great job you did this year, and I just hope we see it.
Well, I appreciate that, but it's not all me. We've got a great coaching staff that do an unbelievable job. We've got former coordinators in that room, guys that are just selfless. And the players, the commitment to what they do every day to go on the field and play for the University of Georgia in this day and era, was sometimes it's about the individual. Credit our players, credit our head coach for representing Georgia the right way.
Well, thank you so much, Coach Mike Bobo.
Thank you.
How about our 5 finalists tonight? The 2025 Broyles World Class. What a great group of guys. Outstanding. And special ladies in their lives too. My Lord, my goodness. All right. Let's bring up Molly. Let's bring up Betsy. Let's bring up, how about Holly Rowe tonight, everybody? Wow, she knows her stuff. And how about one of the greatest players ever, Mark May, everybody? Let's give it up for Mark May. So, Betsy, come on up. We got a little treat before we announce the winner. Betsy, Molly?
In order of the 30th year anniversary, we're going to hear from my dad.
And the winner is Mickey Andrews of Florida State. This is Ralph Friesen of Georgia Tech. Go Challenge.
So I used it. And the
award has been given out, and man, what a great guy. 2nd year in a row he's been invited here, and Brian Haynes, the winner this year. See if he's going to give a speech or not sure if that's part of the plan or not.
All right. I mean, I was told to keep it brief, so I promise I will. What I want to say is this award is so much bigger than me. I'm proud to stand here as a representative of Indiana University, that staff. There's 10 other assistants, full-time assistants on that organization that make that thing go. Our offense was first in the conference in rushing, passing efficiency, and total yards and scoring. So I didn't do this alone. I'm so proud of the team for one another, the way they love.
Broadcast tonight, whether it was on the Buzz or it was on our video stream tonight, and great job by Baz and the whole team making this whole thing possible tonight. So we really appreciate you being a part of it, and we certainly are.